Hey, everybody! Welcome to episode 43. Even though it's titled 42,
You scared me.
it's 43.
It's just 42 forever.
Yes.
Episode 42, over and over and over again.
My name is Carl, and across from me we have Jake. And today,
Got my khakis on.
we're going to talk about how my hair is messed up, and I don't care. I decided to rock it this way today. The sun was out, and I was like, I need to get out in the sun.
Hair's messed
ASAP.
up, and you don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah?
going casual today.
That's all right, man. The sun is out. The sun is shining.
Well, I've learned
I'm loving it.
I could take a shower and be late to this, or B, I could know that I'm just going to get super dirty when we're crawling around installing sump number 2 on the 800 gallon. I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll wait till I'm done with that. and then
Needless
take
to
a
say,
shower.
Kobe stinks today.
Yes.
He's so stinky. It's
I don't know if I'd
ridiculous.
say just today. Usually every day.
Every day.
But maybe today is worse than normal. Maybe.
I didn't notice any difference, so.
Pretty bad on all days, yeah.
It's just continuously bad. Set the level, set the tone.
I got some new fish today that came in the mail.
You got some new fish?
Neon blue platies.
Peanut butter platies?
Kind of. Although I see one of them already has a little bit of orange on it, so I'm a little bit sad. But it came from... Where'd it come from? Aquariumfishsale.com. Other than reading their name, I know nothing about them. Other than, I did notice this. So there's at least one other crazy person in the world besides us. It says, caution. It is fine to add ick medication as a preventative to the fish tank, but take care not to dose crustaceans or other critters that will be adversely affected by medication. The internet will not stand for this pre-treatment of medication. They have let me know
The
time and
pre-treatment?
time again. Yes, that preventative pre-treating is not okay. And yet, here's another...
It's like the weirdos.
entity.
It's like the weirdos that message me about like fluoride or brushing your teeth or vaccines or any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all the evil
know.
stuff.
They're like flat earthers. I just throw them in that group. You know. That's why I just throw them right in there. You know, they're like vaccines are bad. They're filled with mercury. All right, dude.
I just remember I have to go to the dentist tomorrow. He said fluoride, and I was like, dang, I gotta go to the dentist. I hate the dentist. Yeah.
You don't like going to the dentist.
Do you?
I don't enjoy it.
I don't think anyone looks forward to it.
I don't look forward to it, but it's important.
I think I get to get a sweet, sweet periodontal cleaning.
Periodontal? Oh, you
Yes.
getting the periodontal?
Mhm.
I went through that a couple years ago.
It'll be fun.
Brutal. I got it all done. I made him do. Are you doing a quarter of your mouth at a time?
I think it's half. I
Half?
don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I just tell him like, yeah, let's just do the thing, sure. And I told him like, so my wife works at the store now, so I was like, yeah, we don't have insurance, but I'm just gonna pay for it anyway, and you know, because most people won't pay for stuff if they don't have insurance. Like they're like, oh no, don't need that cleaning. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, I need it either way. Like,
Right.
Like just because I don't have insurance going to pay for it doesn't make me need it any less. So, and I can't reschedule or anything like that because I had to reschedule last time because I was in China, and then I think I might have to reschedule the next appointment because I'm in Germany. I don't even know. It's going to be bad times, not bad times, but you know,
It's not great
not fun
times.
times.
It's not great times.
Yeah, I whenever I go to the dentist, I pretty much budget the whole day as a loss. Because like there was business meetings that wanted to happen tomorrow, and I'm like, well, I could try scheduling them later in the day, but
The
what if I'm just
periodontal's not. It's not that bad. I think you could go through it. I went to meetings after mine.
Oh,
Like
all right,
I distinctly recall because one of the guys I had a meeting with
distinct.
had the periodontal cleaning like 2 weeks before that. So it was like a total happenstance thing that like, oh, the guy I was meeting with was like, yeah, I got that like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of sore or whatever, but it's not too bad. He's like, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not crazy.
Oh yes, we've got.
Fishing Key Largo.
He's gonna. Okay, so let me back it up. There's a GoFundMe for Caleb Overhauls, the #1 fan. And we've done some GoFundMe stuff before. We still have never reached the goal.
Caleb.
So, Fish and Key Largo will match dollar for dollar up to $200 all donations made during the show today. If we can hit $1,000, he'll kick in an extra $50. So if you guys, I'm sure there's going to be a link hitting there real soon. If you click on that link and you donate $50 or $10 or $5, he'll match us. If you donate $5, he'll donate $5, and then I'll sneeze. And it's
Oh, you sneezing?
yes. So every $5 makes me
play.
sneeze.
So
It's
much,
worth it on that level
so
alone.
much pollen in the air. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty sunny right now.
My truck got broken, so I had to wash the pollen off of it today.
Nice. Jimmy got me 2 car washes.
That's a callback.
That is a callback. That means you actually watched some of my stuff.
I watched a part of it. I did not watch it all.
Yeah.
I would like to say that I watched it all, but I didn't.
Can't be done.
No.
Can't be done. Ooh, apparently I can get dental insurance through Costco.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, if you have the executive.
I don't have the executive this year, but I could make it.
It's
Because it's a business thing, I think.
It's no, we went and got our Costco membership 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's to upgrade to the executive is like nothing. It's
I think it's an extra $50 or something.
$20 or something.
20,
it's
yeah.
like it's not even a big
I'll
deal.
look into that because
I might look into it.
the wife and I both hit up, this thing called the dentist.
It's just I think so you can have like extra cards. You know what I mean?
It does put
For,
it like an
more
extra person
people
on
or
your.
something.
I had the
Yeah.
executive business one, and
Yeah.
it allowed me to. I could get in there an hour early, but I never wake up that early, so it's useless to me.
Oh, you can get in there early?
I
if
think
you
with
have
the business
with
one,
the-
you get
with the
in
business
1
one.
hour earlier. At least at the business Costco.
I remember the biggest thing with Costco business was we could order a bunch of stuff from them and they would drop it off. Like we didn't even have to go there.
Yeah, I don't. I got rid of the business
is back
one
in the
because
day.
I don't buy that much through the business.
This is back in the day. This
Like,
is back,
in a best
this
case
is back
scenario.
in the day before like Amazon was a big.
Yeah.
Amazon was like, oh, those guys have books, right, or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Best case scenario, I'm like, yeah, I need a case of paper and some paper towels, and that's not worth. Like, I think it's like a $400 minimum to have it delivered, and I don't need that much paper towel. And
I mentioned this the other day on the show. The Swift Aquarium just said we got our Costco membership, and it was the first adult thing I feel like I've done with my life. Swift Aquarium's moving up here.
down from the Oregons
To
down
my
up
neck
to,
of the woods.
to Comers.
The City of Destiny. Which I found that out the other day. It's
Oh,
called
is
the
it actually the City of Destiny?
City of Destiny. Because
Maybe you're living out your destiny now.
That's where the BNSF, the railway system, used to. It still does. I mean,
I see.
it's still, but that used to be the big landing port
Landing pot.
for the railroads and then
Yeah.
the boats.
The boat show. You need to see those platies at some point? You will. Right now, I don't even have meds in there yet. I got to put meds in because they just came in like 20 minutes ago. Which, I forgot how difficult it was buying fish online because, so I bought them on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
And then like zero communication, and like here they are today.
Like
I
just
forgot about that
random.
whole like, oh yeah, they kind of just show up when they're going to show up because in general, people are spotty at best. Like I bought 2 different auctions, maybe 3. So there's another one coming, but they said they shipped it Monday and it's going to arrive Friday. Like clearly that can't be right.
How is that possible?
Yeah, I don't think that's possible. So in my mind, I'm like, the minute I sit down to the dentist chair, it'll be like, my wife will text me like, "You have fish here?" I'm like, dang it. Yeah.
I probably named them all already. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't.
Yeah. Who knows? So. Yes, the dentist. Everyone's talking about dental coverage.
That's
and
good. You should get it. It's important.
I'll be interested to see because $185
I
for
gotta
a
go to-
year is not much.
It's pretty normal for the dental. It's
Yeah.
it's between $150 and $200 a year.
And I got to make sure my dentist will take it because I love my dentist. My dentist is awesome.
That basically covers your 2 cleanings and your standard checkup, 1 X-rays and what is it? Something else, and then the rest of the stuff like it kind of just helps kick in,
Yeah.
which is cool.
It's a good
If you have
idea to
other
kick
stuff to
in.
do like periodontal cleaning,
Mm-hmm.
it makes that much more affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we? Oh, yeah.
Where is that thing?
It's over there. I was like, the silver play button's over there. I was like, what are you talking about? I was
There
like,
it
"Huh?"
is. The silver play button.
Yes. I've consumed
It's a good thing that you're
100,000
turning
hot dogs.
People are tuning into Real Fish Talk because there's a silver play button over there that has nothing to do with this channel.
I don't know if I'd say nothing to do.
It's got nothing to do.
Not even close.
Not It's got
We
nothing
should
to
make
do.
one for Real Fish Talk out of construction paper.
Just make a paper one.
Yeah.
But it's got to be all like super floppy construction paper. Like it's not even like the rigid kind. Like
Well,
it's
I
just,
think
like we
it
were
needs
like
to be-
the budget was so low.
it needs to be
that
kindergarten.
we couldn't even get rigid paper.
It needs to be that kindergarten. Is it kindergarten? Kindergarten? I can't think of the word.
Kindergarten?
Yes, kindergarten. But I'm saying when you spell it, kindergarten, I believe. Anyway, that construction paper is like the floppiest, gonna get wet paper ever. That's
big-
like horrible.
We get the big giant roll. You know
I
what I'm talking about?
mean, I don't know if we have that kind of budget for this show, but
No, I mean I know where we can go and use the roll and just get like 2 feet.
nice. Yes, we need to build it out of that. It has to be like that certain color, orange and pink, though.
Oh my god! Finally, a word of the day that I actually love.
Oh.
Yes, Jimmy.
This is what happened.
I'm
It
excited.
is kindergarten. Yeah. All right.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. Yeah.
Kindergarten.
Kinder.
I'm practicing my German, you guys.
Yeah, even Kinder eggs are Kinder. I'm trying to think where I
Kindergarten.
got Kinder.
I'm
There's
practicing
something that's Kinder.
my
I know.
German,
That's right.
so I can just act like I'm maybe a German around non-Germans.
I don't know.
So like if there's other tourists, I can act like a German and throw them completely off. That's my plan.
We'll see how that goes.
I mean, I do look like a creepy German scientist from the 40s. So
It's true. Just wear a lab coat and you got on lock, I think.
just get that on lockdown,
Uh-huh.
right? I used to wear a chef coat, and wearing a chef coat looks a lot like a lab coat. And people would be like,
Yeah.
"You're like a creepy doctor from somewhere." I'm afraid, especially if I did a bunch of butchering and had like blood all over me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I know what someone was asking. I was trying to remember. I was like, before I got off on the silver play button tangent, someone was asking, I think, if I remember the question right, a good way to make an overflow that is like guppy safe.
Like guppy babies.
I mean, guppy babies is pretty difficult to make it guppy baby safe. I think that's asking a bit
You can
much.
make an overflow guppy safe. I was
Guppy safe,
actually-
yes.
I was actually thinking about that earlier on the way down here because I had messing around with a bunch of acrylic stuff lately, and I was like, "Oh, dude, I got a great idea." And I don't want to say it because now people are they're gonna steal it and run with it. But I do have a plan for a guppy safe overflow. Yes.
Yeah, I think
What was the question?
it was
Does somebody have the question? Or
Yeah,
are you just
it was
talking
it
about
was way up there, but it was like an overflow that would be safe for guppies. Which the best thing I can think of is that needlepoint mesh. Like if you got the standard overflow, like
So I've
an
been
Aqueon tank or
utilizing stainless steel mesh
all right,
and zip tying it on there, and that works for my shrimp. And that has so far worked for guppies also.
yeah, I think that would work because the needlepoint mesh is just the plastic version of that, a little more floppy. I was always afraid that the metal, like, oh, what if it, rusts or leaches something or whatever. But clearly, it's all right for you.
Yeah, it's worked fine.
Or is that what prevented you from ever making
I use
another
this stainless
guppy?
steel like window screen.
Yeah.
It's like window screen, so it's like real thin, but it's the steel kind. It doesn't rust, and I wouldn't imagine that it's leaking anything into the water. I've never.
Have you tried it in your reef?
It would be weird that it was made out of lead. Yeah, I've done it in saltwater too.
I feel like if it's reef safe, it's pretty much safe.
It's
at that
pretty
point.
much yeah. I mean, it hasn't oxidized in there either.
Is it actually stainless or is it aluminum? Because aluminum wouldn't rust and all that.
I doubt that it's aluminum because it would oxidize. It would turn green.
It would oxidize, yeah.
And it hasn't done any of that. So maybe it's actually just plastic, and they just call it. I mean, it's metal. I don't know. Whatever it is.
Pantyhose I find to be a little bit too fine of a mesh. Like it's just going to catch all the debris. All the fish
Pantyhose is
poops.
a disaster.
Yeah,
It
it'll
will-
severely limit your flow and everything.
Yeah, pantyhose clogs up in. It feels like 20 minutes.
My rule
it's
of
like
thumb-
a day, but it feels like 20 minutes. It
My rule of
clogs up.
thumb is I want it as coarse as possible without letting the object through that I don't want to go through. Because it's every time you restrict it, what happens is it basically makes more water in the tank because it can't drain as fast, and you can get to a point where you put something on, it's working fine, And then 9 hours later, you have like water slowly dripping off the top because it just restricted that flow by just the tiniest amount. And it took 8 hours for you to see that does back up.
Oh, that does something.
Yeah, and I've even, and that's where there's calculations even when you're making tanks to how many teeth and what are the spacing of the teeth and how wide are they and all that towards the pump and the drain. And there's and that factors in, like, so if you have teeth that are this high on the overflow sump, how high do you want that water to run is how much space there's going to be. And so you can get real technical about it. And so long as you're not on that side where it can't go fast enough, you're doing okay. So we got 3 donations so far. That sounds good.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is good. So instead, can you leave comments? Let's do
the GoFundMe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you make a donation on the GoFundMe and leave a comment, we'll totally address it here. So it's like a super chat, but over there.
Like next week?
No, right now. Like if someone, like if a mod
I don't
or
know how
someone grabs
quickly
it.
it posts.
I have no
there.
idea.
I don't know how fast.
If it's real time, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll do it next week. Like
Yeah.
we won't forget it. Like there's a guy that I don't know if it's a guy, but someone left me a super chat on my other stream, and I missed it. I feel the worst when I miss one.
I missed one from Gone Mad last week.
It's almost the best thing that could happen
Luckily,
to you
he
because
has-
now it's like in my brain, like, I will track this guy down and I will help him.
Luckily, he has my phone number, so he texted me.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, oh man. I'm
If that
super
ever
sorry.
happens, get in contact with me and I'll make it right. But that is almost one of the things, like sneak in a super chat and I'll feel forever indebted. Like, oh man.
But I think, as far as I know, I think Gone Mad and Turbofish, I think they're both making the trek with their spouses up to
The Michigan?
what happened?
Michigan?
What happened to you?
I was sniffing it.
What happened?
Library convention.
Quit giving it a sniff, man.
Oh.
It's weird. No, I was saying that they'll probably be at the American Live Bearer Association.
Yeah, Michigan.
So you don't have to travel all the way to Germany to run into us.
No, you
Is what I'm
don't.
saying.
Yeah, we'll be in Michigan for 2.5 days.
I was organically hyping the fact that I was talking about some,
Okay.
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah. Ice cream.
By the
Here's
way,
the thing I love about Michigan. There are ice cream shops all over the place.
I want to. This came to my attention about 10 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a travesty that's going to take place at this American Library Convention. I believe Saturday is the 5th, which makes it Cinco de Mayo, which means I'll be speaking at a banquet dinner, and I very much doubt they will have tacos.
Do you think Cinco de Mayo is the day to be eating tacos?
Yes.
You mean amateur hour?
I mean, it just seems like a travesty not to eat Mexican food and have a get-together.
We're going to
and do all
have
those
Mexican
things.
food on May the 4th.
Yes.
Star Wars tacos.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Uh,
But yeah, so
They
they
did
did.
going out for Mexican food on Cinco de Mayo. It's like going out for Irish food on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I do that too. No, I don't.
It's rookie.
But my speaker
That's Bush
schedule,
League.
my speaker schedule is dialed in. Both talks are on Saturday. So anyone that was wondering,
okay.
I just got confirmation. I think my first talk's at 2:30, and then my second talk is whatever dinner time is, probably 5:30 or something like that. George Farmer and the Heezy.
Well, George Farmer's
To put it in UK speak,
George Farmer, it's going to be easier for him to come to Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking, as far as I know, he'll
We're gonna
show
be
up. Ooh, there we go. Looking forward to seeing you both at Interzoo. Hope you like. That's a word I can't say. That's
Why
to me that looks like webinar.
I think it says why beer.
Why beer?
Which is probably a
Beer?
beer thing or something.
But neither of us drink,
Yeah, I'm a sober guy.
and I just don't drink because beer is dumb. Doesn't taste good. Milkshakes. You got Germany milkshakes? I'm down.
Do we get like a sausage and
Oh my, gross.
we get a sausage and a root beer float.
Yeah, not
Like-
side by side, but like in one.
Yes, like in
Yeah.
the root beer float.
Yeah,
Right?
we should start that where we make
Is it
root beer
Wiener
floats.
Schnitzel?
We should make root beer floats that are like Bloody Marys, where they see like how many things they can get onto it.
Right.
We'll start root beer floats like that.
That'd be good.
I call this one the Summer Killer.
It's- It's the summer killer.
Like you have a burnt hot dog, part of a, part.
It's got like an old
One-
churro.
you have one
it's got like an old
cube.
churro in it that you found on the
Yeah,
ground.
and you gotta have 1 cube of potato salad, like through the skewer. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But all of it's got to sit down inside the ice cream and the root beer.
Onions.
Yeah,
Just got onions in
Uh-huh.
there. Yeah, it's going big.
we're on the right path. But yes, if you guys haven't checked it out, if you are in the UK, check out George Farmer's latest video. He's doing a aquascape makeover sponsory type of thingy. So you got to like shoot a video and you go, hey, my tank wants the George Farmer love. And then if he picks you, you work with him, make a super cool aquascape, and then it's all about promoting the hobby or the aquascaping hobby. So you can check that out if you're in the UK. I mean, if you're not in the UK, you can go check it out. You just won't be able to apply. Well, he's running into the same troubles we run into. He reached out to like a bunch of companies because he needed like some sponsorship to go do it outside of the UK.
Right.
And, I don't want to speak for him, but basically like that didn't happen. I don't know if it just didn't work out or whatever.
Right.
So he's got to limit it to what he can afford, and that's pretty much in the UK area, which it's kind of like us. It's like, well, I can't fly to Singapore to like, let me do that because
Yeah, let me do the
even if I paid to get there, I wouldn't have any resources there. Like, I don't know, where do you buy this stuff?
Yeah, where do you get stuff?
All right. I need help. Do Gulf Coast pygmy sunfish grow to 2.5 centimeters or 2.5 inches? Some guy on my forum keeps saying 2.5 inches, but he won't accept the fact that they won't. I got to go with, because I know I've caught them in the wild. I got to go with, I feel like I've definitely seen them at 2 inches. 1 inch is pretty small.
Centimeters. 2.5 centimeters.
Yeah, 2.5 centimeters would be about 1 inch.
Yeah, that's like 1 inch. That's too small.
I feel like they're 2 inches when I was catching them out of the wild in Florida. But I'm going off memory, not in person. You could go to Inglorious Bettas. She had some. I think I filmed them. They might be in the fish room tour I did. And they were small, but she'd raised those fry. I don't know. To me, it's like, it's kind of a nerd fight of like, no, it's 1 inch. No, it's 2. Like, yeah, how about you just say they get to under 2 inches? And then you'd be like, oh, we're all happy now.
Yeah,
That's-
1 to 2 inches.
Yeah. I think we missed a Flynn super chat. Is that true, Jimmy? Who'd we
We
miss
don't have
one?
the super chats up there.
Jimmy chats.
We have the screen up there that's showing me my own face.
Oh, it was Gone Mad. My bad. And we missed Priscilla. So Gone Mad with the Taco Tuesday. Maybe we'll grab tacos later. We could do the dollar tacos.
Dollar tacos? Where at?
The place down the street. I don't want to say it because then everyone will show up and it'll be weird.
Right. Never mind.
Priscilla MK. Caleb is super cool. He deserves all the support. Yeah, he was, he's been a trooper. That's all I know.
Super Trooper.
Super Trooper. Apparently Super Troopers 2 came out. Is that
Super
right?
Troopers 2 came out on Friday.
And supposedly...
I'm excited this weekend, Avengers.
I don't get
Infinity
excited
War.
for anything, really.
The new Avengers movie.
Yeah. You have to go to a theater, though.
Yeah. It's a theater with reclining chairs and assigned seating.
How do you have time for that?
Go in the morning.
Maybe.
We go in the
That's
morning.
when you sleep.
No, I had
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you don't stay up gaming until 3 in the morning, it's easy to get up and go see a movie.
1, I don't game. 2, I don't get up early.
Gaming.
I did watch the H3H2 podcast with Ninja, though.
I watched 8 minutes of it.
Just the part about Jake Paul, or was that one?
That was the only clip that
Oh.
it just had popped up, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, And then I was like, I don't know. I'm really not interested in this.
I watched the
podcast.
full thing, and what I took away from it was, dude's pretty cool for the fact that he's like dominating the world at the moment.
He seemed very cool. Seemed very cool, very personable.
Like a guy that's like, yeah, I'm kind of just bringing in like $1 million a month. My life radically changed in the last 6 months. He's still like pretty much a normal dude.
Well, it's the same with the H3 guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like
Yeah, they're all cool.
kind of just right in where they were before.
But what I thought was cool is he was like, he's been on like the infinite interview tour lately, right? Mm-hmm. He's like breaking records and doing all that stuff. And he always gets asked like, isn't it kind of, aren't you kind of lucky to be, getting paid so much money for just gaming? And his response is like, sure, except no one's talking about the 8 years where I got paid nothing and I played the same amount for nothing.
Yeah, no one talks about any of that stuff.
Yeah, he was talking about how basically like, it's no different than being an athlete where you're like, oh yeah, from the age of 8 to 18, I never left the basketball court. And now, yes, I play professionally and I make money. And that's kind of, his takeaway was like, yeah, but I still dedicated my entire life to a craft and now I'm getting paid for it.
Right. I think that's definitely one of the big things that, like, I don't think that there's enough representation in our culture, at least. And I don't know, it would be wrong for me to make cast a judgment on like what's going on in Holland or something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't really know firsthand, but definitely in American culture, or whether it be TV or YouTube or movies or anything like that, it's pretty rare that anybody really details like the hard work of what it gets to get to a point. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Of the success, because it's like, well, now they're successful. Now it's time to look over there.
Right.
That stuff just like I don't think it ever gets detailed. Just like how much hard work it is to get to a certain point. But it's great to hear, and he seems like a super grounded guy. That's for sure. That was just like, yeah, it's what I do. It's my job.
Mm-hmm. This is Jimmy Jam.
This is Jimmy Jam, McJimmy Jam, doing his job. So, yeah, and I think that's cool, and I think it's great that he is highlighting that, like, look, I've been 8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week for 8 years now, or whatever, and, depending on whatever platforms he was on.
He's doing it
before.
even more. He was saying that he's ramping it up even more now, but like in his prime, where he kind of is right now, he basically is sleeping 5 to 6 hours, and he carves out 4 hours for his wife / family and dogs or whatever. Mm-hmm. And outside of that, always streaming. And it's because he
does like 12-hour days.
Yeah, and so it's a pretty. He does like a 6 or 7, then he takes that break, then does some more till like 3, then sleeps till like 7 a.m. again or something like that, and then restarts the whole day. But they were kind of asking him about it, and he said it's a different. So they were asking what he thought about all the YouTubers coming over to.
That part was great.
Yeah, and it's like his thing was it's a completely different skill set, and I agree. Like us going for 2 hours off the cuff is way different than we can reshoot a 5-minute video 100 times to say what we want to say. There's no take backs. There's no, like, you got to hold people's attention like on the fly, Right. And so, and his thing was, not only is that difficult, but let's say we're doing what we're doing right now, and I have to be playing a game competitively, and if I'm not doing well, I'm not considered to be good. Right. So it could be like I'm playing a game of poker while keeping your guys' attention. If I'm not winning, then I'm not a very good person at my job.
Right.
So it's really quite an intense thing, because I could get it, like being really competitive in any sport, but then at the same time you have to be very entertaining all at the same time. And he says it's a struggle sometimes to focus, like, am I focusing on being good at the game, or am I focusing on entertaining people and getting the right balance? And that typically YouTubers aren't very good at that, because they come from a platform where it's like, oh, I just have to entertain and I can take as many takes as I want,
right, and
then drop over to there.
Critical's still my favorite.
Critical? Mm-hmm. I don't know that.
I think his YouTube channel is like Penguins Zero or something, but Critical, and he's very popular, so it's like, I think most people will know who I'm talking about, but he's certainly my favorite. But he never like really has his face. You only ever just hear his voice and see him playing and stuff. Yeah. But he's just funny, just super, super funny, and obviously a pretty good gamer. You know what I mean? They're always playing like Fortnite or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't watch that much. I'll like tune in for like 10 minutes, chuckle, laugh, and then go back to doing whatever I'm doing. But that's just me. But I listen to tons of podcasts, so I can see how people could just like have. I can see how people could have somebody like Ninja just in the background and just laughing, like, about the occasional jokes or whatever, like while they're doing something else or whatever. I think that's pretty dope.
Well, I did think it was interesting that, like, they brought up the whole people watching other people game thing, and then the best analogy that I hadn't heard before, which maybe it's like super popular in the gaming culture at this point, was basically like everyone will go watch basketball, football, baseball, all that kind of stuff,
And never question it.
right? And
Yeah.
then yet, if you watch someone play StarCraft, Fortnite, Counter-Strike, doesn't matter. All of a sudden, you're the weirdo, but it's just as competitive, and it's the same thing, and
It's
like
somebody else playing a game.
yeah, you might be like, oh man, I'm the biggest Bulls fan on the planet. I watch every game. And then why is it any different to be like, oh man, I love watching Joel play this game. I'm rooting for him. It's the same thing, essentially. So I just thought it was weird in how the culture shift is happening and all that kind of stuff. And found it. So I let it play like the whole hour and something in the background as I worked because I was starting to fall asleep. That's what I do if I'm like nodding off in the spreadsheets. I'm like, okay, got to get something going.
Yeah.
So.
But I think, yeah, I did hear the point that you were talking about, and that's something that I've definitely noticed is that there are a lot more YouTubers that, you know, like I've been on some other people's shows. You know, like I was on Mass Aquariums. I did a live stream with him. And I think people are starting to learn that you may or may not be cut out for the long format stuff, even if you have done really well at YouTube. You know
Sure,
what I
yeah.
mean? And I can think of a lot of like really big YouTubers out there that really just stuff their foot right in their mouth or shoot themselves in the foot. A lot of foot stuff.
Yeah.
When they've been on for a long format stuff. So I look forward to seeing more YouTubers doing long format stuff so we could get like a lot more of a real representation of certain people where it's like, maybe I don't want to listen to this person's advice anymore when they're kind of like a crazy person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm a nutbag, but I'm like a goofball nutbag. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I've definitely noticed that there are certain YouTubers that have gone over to try and do the live stream type stuff, and you're like, really? I don't know.
Yeah.
Might not be a good idea.
I don't know much about it, but I did. There was another. So I fell down the YouTube rabbit hole, and like Philly D was talking about, basically AdSense and the whole thing that's going on right now or whatever. But one thing I thought was interesting that I'd never thought of before is that YouTube Red does pay all its creators, but it pays disproportionately for longer format content.
For time format.
So, like what they were saying is actually a huge problem in people that do like, let's say you make an animated cartoon that's 3 minutes.
And it took you 6 weeks to make it.
YouTube Red might go, yeah, like here's your 4 cents. But if you make like this real show, like we do, they might be like, cool, here's your 11 cents.
Right.
And yet, obviously, that cartoon took wicked longer and all that, so there's like a problem going on.
Yeah, like this show's 2 hours long. It probably takes 6 hours to put it all together, but that's not. That's not 2 weeks of 5 guys working
Right.
12 hours a day. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
So they got this, they were talking about Brave, which is a new browser that kind of like, it's basically like, let's say you're using Chrome or Firefox or whatever. It's a browser that, in theory, it's all new and crazy. And it seems like this could be a giant scam, but a bunch of people are adopting it. But essentially, it's got like a little back end with a little wallet, and you could put like $20 into it, and then you can give a percentage. So it could be like, every time I watch Joel's content, I want him to get 3% of my available funds.
Right.
And then you could be like, oh, this guy I want to get 10%, this guy I want to get 0. And so you would almost like, it's almost like buying a prepaid gift card for TV or something, and you'd be like doling it out. And I'm just
Yeah.
not sure it's going to work.
It's a little bit weird. It's more like a calling card.
Yeah, I'm
more
just
like
not
you-
sure it's going to work.
You pay into something, but the way that you can accrue, like the monetary side of it, is that you can do stuff with it, right?
Supposedly, the long term, you'll be able to like watch ads and then like make some money and all these
Well,
weird
it's not necessarily make money, but it's accrue credit
Right.
that you can
Yeah.
be like, oh well,
Yeah, if you go watch
I'm gonna go
a Ford
take
commercial and all
it's,
this,
It's not really like watch an ad. It's more like go take some surveys and answer some questions about maybe
Yeah.
products that you use or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something like that. It's not just like you go watch a Ford ad and then now you've got credit.
They're talking about doing that stuff too, but
Right, but that's more along the lines of. So that's part that I do know a little bit about, and that's like you watch the Ford ad,
Mm-hmm.
so you accrue the 1/10 of a cent or whatever.
Sure.
You don't actually get it; it just passes on to whatever you were watching. Sort of like how YouTube
Yeah, sure.
works now.
Yeah.
That's how Brave would work, and you don't have to do anything for that.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't like go in to your browser and go like, oh, Ninja gets X amount.
Right.
Because you had watched the ads that were already served up on his regular thing. He would just get paid like by AdSense, basically.
Sure.
But it's just through Brave instead.
But anyway, I just thought it was kind of weird that
It is kind of weird, but that's
you'd have
the
to
world.
get so many people to convert over and that type of thing. So I'm not convinced that it's going to work. But if it works, we'll know in like a year, and I'll be like, all right, everybody's got to do that. You know.
I don't know, man. I was on Patreon for a really long time, and I was like kind of convinced that it was never going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day it just started working.
Sure.
You know, realistically, like
Yeah.
there was just enough people on there that it was like, oh, now it's kind of like a normalized thing that exists. You know, it's like the GoFundMe for Caleb. Like GoFundMe was like, when it started out, people were like,
True.
I'm not.
Scamming.
They're gonna steal
yeah.
my credit card information and buy a new Skynet device or something, right? But it has definitely taken off. So, but we do have a bit of a fundraiser for Caleb today. If anybody could post the link into the chat, thank you very much. Caleb is our #1 fan, a young man, the age of 7, out in Montana, battling through leukemia. If you don't know what leukemia is, you could look it up. I can sum it up in 2 words: blood cancer, which almost always freaks people out.
I was going to go with not awesome.
Not awesome, yes. But not awesome doesn't freak people out.
It does not freak people out.
Blood cancer, it's important. Hopefully we can just do our little thing to help out, and that'll be great. Little Largemouth is asking, is there a fish/pet YouTuber convention? There is a YouTuber convention. I will tell you.
VidCon, right?
Yes, it is super useless to go to it. Unless there's like a giant YouTuber that you want to see in person for a minute, maybe. It's not great. They had it one year right near my house in West Seattle at Terminal 5. You know, the giant terminal down by the water there? You probably don't.
I don't.
But it was like blocks from my house. And it was not a great place to go. But if there was some advice that I could give you, one of the great places to go to meet a lot of YouTubers and stuff would be the Aquatic Experience.
Yep.
Which will be in New Jersey this year. Pretty easy to get to.
Which, by the way, Chicago is crazy butthurt about it.
Are they? Like the city?
Like just the people that live in Chicago and have gotten to go to it for 5 years in a row without ever having to do a commute. Mm-hmm. Like, they're just trolling every post they do nonstop. Like, can't believe I'd have to leave Chicago to go to this.
Oh.
Like, I find it comical as a guy that has to fly from the furthest point in the United States to get there.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, they're just not willing to share, like, at all.
Here's the thing. Someday, Real Fish Talk will be big enough that we'll throw a convention.
Mm-hmm. But we're going to make it somewhere.
It's not going to be
somewhere
in
that
Seattle.
Everyone will equally hate.
It's not going to be in Seattle, though. We'll have it at, like, Snoqualmie.
No, it needs to be somewhere more remote. Like, somewhere just really bad.
Spokane?
What if we do it...
Coeur d'Alene.
What if we do it at
Butte,
Burning Man?
Butte,
We'll do it
Montana.
at Burning Man, but not during Burning Man time.
You are not allowed.
Really?
You can't just go wandering around on that land.
Oh, well.
I mean, you could, like, on the playa.
Somewhere
There's
as
certain
remote
parts of the
as
playa
that.
that you can go to. Oh, somebody's going to get super mad at me. Whatever, just don't go there. Don't.
Yeah.
Go to Burning Man as the organized event. Yes, I recommend going. But don't just go driving around down there in the off season. There's a lot of things being monitored and whatnot. I'll put it that way. You're being tracked.
Caroline Epler
Miss Epler.
with the $49.99. Hi, guys. Hope you
That's
were
a
well.
$50 super chat.
No, it's $49.99. She might be iPhone.
It's $50 because it's iPhone.
Close.
iPhone makes you take the cent out.
Yes. But, like, a lot of people would say $9.99 is actually like $5. like depends. Glass is half full.
$9.99 is $5.
Definitely in business when you're pricing stuff, people think that way. Like if you post something at $19.99, a lot of people will be like, it's like $10. Like a lot. Like not even like, oh yeah, just like what my uncle who's crazy down the street says that. Like 50% of people just round down by $10. But no. It's rounding down by $9.99. That's why the whole $9.99 thing, like the .99 exists, because there's enough people's brains that actually round down to those bigger numbers.
You remember the 83 IQ thing I was talking about a while ago?
Yes.
Yeah.
I know. Anyway, it ties in because Caroline's talking with business. I hung out with Michael Barber last weekend. He's the one that is co-owner of Go Wild Peru, the trip that I'll be on in July.
Mm-hmm.
Business is trying... Oh, and got an awesome stand from him. So you hung out and got a stand from him.
Cool.
Business is trying, frustrating, and most amazingly rewarding thing I have ever done. Cheers. Yeah. I think you control everything. So it's, when things go wrong, it's horrible. There's no insulation from, oh, you mean I owe $6,000 because that thing's not working or whatever. And then at the same time, when you do a good thing and you're like, oh man, we made all this money, you also get that money. But
Yeah.
there's no insulation, there's no middleman, I guess. That's the thing, is like, because you are directly in control of how much money you make and lose, I would say, like, from my career so far as a human, working for someone else kind of was like just a steady like thing, and then you'd be like, oh, I got a raise, and then, oh, I lost my job, so I went and got a different job, went down a little bit. Like, it's pretty flat line in terms of like what it was, whereas like me opening a business was kind of like doing this and then like slamming down to the bottom where there's like, I'm not paying myself anything, and then it would come up a little bit, and now like we're on the incline. But if you were to like I should do this experiment, but if I took all the money I earned basically, like, let's say 2 years before opening the business, because there was like a year almost that I didn't work, well, more than a year that I didn't, like, it's not that I didn't work, I didn't get paid.
Yeah.
I worked, I was building the store and all that, but if I took like those 2 years plus the 5 years of being open and averaged it out, I probably would be like, sweet, I make $52,000 a year, I work 120 hours a week. But as that goes on, in theory, unless I screw it up, like at the 10-year, I might be going, sweet, I'm making $70,000 a year, still working 120 hours. I think that's how business kind of goes. And then you just hope you're not in the business where you're like, oh, I was on fidget spinners and now it's gone. So 70 was the cap. And don't get me wrong, $52,000, $72,000, all those are large amounts of money, except for when you compare it to the time. That's the problem. It's literally
Right.
long days and hours.
Right.
So, but yes, it is rewarding and stressful. My wife can attest to that. There's days where I just shouldn't even be alive. What's up?
I
Good point.
watched Office Space one day,
Oh,
and I've been unemployed ever since.
pretty much. Megan Ness, what is the rarest plant you've ever kept? For me, I can only think of one. I mean, I'm sure there's a handful of them, but Kufea is probably the rarest.
Kufea?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
It's just like a tiny little stem plant that's like purpley-ish. Mary from like the club and stuff had it going for a while. So that, and then like maybe the umbrella plant.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't intentionally touch stuff that's too crazy rare.
I don't know. It'd be hard. What's the rarest?
Because time affects everything.
And time affects all of it.
You'd be like, that thing was crazy rare when I got it, and now, yeah, it's $12.
Yeah, Aerocalons were
$100.
so rare.
Yeah. Oh, that one's $120, and now you're like, yeah, I can get one for like, it's 20 or something, or even less.
They're 10.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I think those are the rarest that I've played with at the time, but I don't know. I like plants, but I've never been a guy that's like willing to go $120 deep on marble Danubius or anything. I'm just like, My logic is either A, it's going to come down in price, or B, it's not stable and therefore I shouldn't buy it. You know, so it's either a waste of money or it's a waste of money either way. It's either going to come down in price or it wouldn't live, and then that's a waste of money. So I just wait. That's what I felt like with Buses too. I was like, yeah, they're super cool, but if they're not any harder to grow than a Nubius, what makes them crazy more expensive than just a Nubius? And then the prices have just been steadily coming down.
Oh yeah, they'll be super common here fairly soon. And not,
I mean, it's still not cheap. Like, don't get me wrong, my cheapest Buse is still like $30 or something.
it's not
like that.
cheap yet.
But it used to be way more expensive.
Although now there is a big problem with the people gathering them from the wild.
Oh, well, that's kind of been a problem for a while. But
They're
more and
just
more
hammering.
places will aquaculture them.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
I mean, I'm not a farm, obviously, but I would hope that it's the same type of process of Nubius.
Why don't you start a farm?
Because I'm sensible. I'm not in the right place to start a farm, / don't have the time, / it's a different skill set.
Why don't you put it on your to-do list?
As of this morning, my to-do list was 32 items behind, so
Whatevs. He didn't even number them. Just make
it does it automatically in the app.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
What app?
It's called Todoist.
I'm going to take a look at this app after the
It's
show.
right here.
Look at
what
this
I like about
beautiful
it.
piece of acrylic here with all these holes.
Look, right there. Todoist. Todoist. Right? Somewhere like right there.
It didn't open.
Yeah. But it's got all these things. Cycled biomedia. So here, I'll read some of my list.
February 3rd.
Yeah, I'm that behind.
He literally put 32 things on there and never
That's not
clicked
true.
any of them off.
So here's the thing. Cycled biomedia. My goal is we're running the tests right now. I need to cycle biomedia and then make sure it's sustainable in like 100-degree weather as we ship it so that it doesn't run out of oxygen. And then I want to be able to offer people cycled biomaterial to jumpstart a tank. So that's why I can't just be like, oh, just check that off. That's like a ongoing, like that's going to take a few months to really test it. But we have media being cycled right now. We're doing some tests. We got to make sure we can ship it. Number 2, design my own algae scraper. It's going to take some time. Number 3,
Easy.
tank sticker.
Easy.
What's a tank sticker? Like the little Klingon sticker that could say like Aquarium Co-op. I've got samples coming from stickermule.com
sticker
as of
mule?
yesterday.
Ooh.
The other one, this is pertinent to the show. Fix the podcast logo, Jimmy,
What podcast logo?
on like iTunes and Stitcher and all that.
Oh, that has to be updated.
Because it's like they change proportions. So we've got like a black bar. It's on the to-do list. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Jiminy!
Improve website descriptions.
What?
Improve website descriptions.
You already did that.
I haven't
already
finished
done.
it now. Get Northfin fish food. I've reached out a couple of times. Still on the list. Shows you how that's going.
Northfin?
Yeah.
Just call Jay. Where's Jay Wilson? Somebody text
Jay
Jay
Wilson sells it, but
Sure.
he doesn't sell it wholesale.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
I thought he did.
As far as I know, no.
All right. Well, don't call Jay.
Python hose. Reached out to them. They haven't reached back to me either. Need to make a...
Python hose with a question mark?
It doesn't have a question mark. It just says pythons, actually.
Python hose?
Pythons.
These pythons are sick.
Apparently, I need to make a discus video. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah.
Ooh, the plant labeling system. I did. Jimmy just brought that box in. I bought a stupid expensive printer that all it prints is the plant tags that you stick into potted plants. So we are upping our labeling system in the plants we ship out because not all plants we buy from vendors come with them. And
Right.
then majority of them, in my
I did
opinion,
notice that the other day when I was over at the warehouse. I was like, what dingleberry is handwriting these labels
well,
in
because
here?
a lot of people order plants and they
No.
won't know what they're getting.
It's not a criticism. I was just like,
That Corey's paying people to do that.
why? No, because I was just like, why would you take the ones out that were in there?
yeah, we weren't. They just didn't come.
And I
with it.
know. I was trying to finish the sentences
Never.
that was like, it's not a criticism or whatever. I was just saying what happened in my head. And then it was like, oh, those didn't come with them. Oh, I guess that's why Dingleberry's writing those out.
My wife writes those, by the way.
Relax. It's not like a criticism of whose handwriting or how they wrote them or anything.
Call my wife a dingleberry.
They were green, though, and all the other ones are not green.
True.
Catches the eye.
Mm-hmm. Wait a
Tripping.
second. I did this one.
Kobe's tripping.
This box from March, or this one from March 13th says,
He's just reading off his to-do list now.
yeah, send a swag box to Jeremy. What does that mean? I pre-sent products to the library convention we're going to so they can like raffle them off and earn money and that kind of stuff. So that one, my list, went down by one. Just had to read through it, you know. I'm still letting someone down with a signed extra large shirt at the shop. That's a bummer. I got to remember to do that while I'm there. And then just a bunch of video ideas. And
I never even got a members only jacket.
No, we ran out of your size apparently.
Where's Robert? Robert was supposed to get me one.
This is no joke on my
He's
list.
supposed to hand deliver it to my house.
Yeah, I need to
Clutching
make
it.
an ammonia video as
Clutching
well.
it in his teeth like a puppy.
He brought too large of one. That's the only problem. So,
You know?
Jeff Rose. Oh, snap, y'all. What is up, Fish Fam? Universe this fine evening? Oh, that was separated in two lines and made me read it weird. Fish Fam Universe. Anyway. Also, the $5 to hear Corey say, y'all. Y'all better come around now, you hear?
That's why we say yeehaw.
Yeah. Can algae grow on a fish? And is it bad if it does?
That's from Mark Nanaman.
To the best of my knowledge, that is not possible. You could get algae stuck to a slime coat. I believe that could happen. But I'm not sure it would inherently grow. Well, that's not, like on a whale or something like that.
Yeah.
But like in an aquarium fish, I don't think that's
I think
possible.
it's possible, but it's weird.
True. I shouldn't say it's impossible. I've never seen it, though.
A whale's not a fish.
I knew someone was going to say that. But in my mind, they are fish.
It's pre-salted beef of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Ocean beef.
Yeah, I can't think of an instance where I've actually, I mean, turtle shells, totally, see it all the time.
Yep.
Um,
Snail shells.
Snail shells,
Shrimps.
see it all the time. I've never seen it on a shrimp. Have you
I've
seen
seen
it?
it on shrimps.
Wow, I've never
The
seen it on a
ones that
shrimp.
are not doing well. It is a sign that, like, oh,
Your butt looks dirty, shrimp.
you are not moving around very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you have it, take a picture. I'll take a look at it. But that seems super odd to me.
It's possible. It's
It-
possible. I mean,
it would be possible.
maybe there's a weird fish that's just always swimming up right by the light. You know, like it just occupies this little space, like right underneath the light.
Could be.
Territorial fish, right? Somebody
Yeah.
keeping
I
them out of
don't
their
know.
zone. So I mean, it's possible. I don't know. I don't think it's a good sign though. If that's the case,
It doesn't seem like it's a good sign.
Doesn't seem like it's a
but-
very good deal.
Yeah. Algae grow on damaged tissue of a koi? I can maybe believe that because there wouldn't be the slime coat. I'm thinking the slime coat would help prevent any algae from kind of like, for lack of a better term, rooting.
Sticking.
Yeah, I'd have to like, you know.
It's like a non-stick pan. You know,
Yeah,
Teflon
for sure.
Teflon coated,
Yeah.
bro.
That's where I was going with that. You just
Fully
let me finish
seasoned.
that analogy.
Is it fully seasoned?
He's hot.
Do you even have a mic over there right
He doesn't
now?
even have a mic over there.
Oh, my bad.
And people are gonna say that I took his mic away or something.
It's actually me. It's sitting over in the other room.
No one took his mic away. It's just not there.
Is there any concern with genetics starting a guppy colony from one male and two females? Good morning from Australia. I would say no.
No.
I mean, there is concern in the fact that, like, yeah, over like a billion generations and you don't cull the ones that are not doing well, that's a problem. So, like, if you were going to, like, oh, I have a 20,000 gallon pond that I'm never going to do anything with and I'm going to put these fish in there, in 20 years, will they be genetically not awesome? Yes. But
I remember there is a metric of like, if you start with a pair of something, like for each animal, invertebrate, reptile, mammal, whatever, there is a number that
they call it like G17 is where you'll hit this level of deformity. or
you'll
something.
hit a problem
Yeah.
with some kind of deformities or whatever where the genetics will get muddy.
Yeah.
And I forget what it was with well, pretty much most of them, but I remember like small freshwater fish being something crazy like 400 times or something.
That would make
where you're
sense.
Just like,
Because like
how
the,
do you get? That's okay. Yeah, I'm
the
not even
Texas
gonna worry
stock
about that.
center is like going on for like 50 plus years with the same things, and they've been inbreeding the whole time, and even they are saying like genetically they're not worse.
Right.
So that's where I come down to the hobbyist level. I'm like, look, if you still have those same line of guppies going in 3 years, you're doing better than 98% of hobbyists anyway.
Of even just keeping
Because
them.
you're like, yeah, I got bored, moved on.
Yeah.
You know, so the reality is like, yes, is there a problem? Yeah, if you owned a fish farm and you were going to do that for the next 40 years, yeah, be mindful, but, you know, it's not that
It would
big
be
of a
weird
deal.
to start a fish farm with just 2 fish, though.
Yeah, it's gangster.
You'd be like, I'm starting a farm. I have 2. I can't even breed my 2. I don't know. The
I
male
know.
died, so I feel like I lost the bet anyhow, and I can just move on.
I tried to troll him into doing it again. He wouldn't give in, though.
I didn't give in. I'm
Yeah.
not falling for it. I'm not falling for your sneaky tricks. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
What do we want to talk about? We could talk about guppies all day long. Someone said turtle mohawks. We could talk about turtle mohawks.
Turtle mohawks? What?
Oh yeah, back here we've got a sump. This is sump number 2. We're gonna install.
That's going on the 800. That'll actually be...
The thing's only like 3 feet or something. That's kind of awesome.
No, it's 4 foot.
It might be. It looks so small though.
Okay.
If I had a tape measure, I'd
You
measure
have a
it.
giant sponge filter next to it.
Sponge
You think
filter
that's
for scale.
helping?
Yeah,
You
that's
have
a 5
giant
gallon.
lava
It's a
lamp
5
next to
gallon.
it. Do you think that's helping?
This is true. Yeah, I need to.
You have a giant
downscale.
jade arowana.
That
next
one's
to
not
it.
even
Is that
giant.
Helping?
That's not even giant.
Is that helping?
I never talk about platies ever. Yes, I do. I talk about
We
platies all the
talked
time.
about platies earlier.
Yeah.
You got some peanut butter ones over there.
Of my tanks that have live bears, I have one that has guppies, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 that have platies. So
You don't even have... You have more breeds of platies than you do guppies.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I love platies.
What are you doing?
Enjoying platies. But I will talk
It's
about
sad.
at the ALA convention
Makes
breeding
me all super sad.
breeding for profit.
You'd be breeding for profit at the ALA?
I won't be.
Oh.
That's a little weird. But I'll be talking
That's a good
about
point.
breeding
That
live
is
bear
weird.
fish for profit.
Oh.
I think they're profitable. And I know they are. 'cause
Peanut butter platies.
I've done it. Please explain fish hormone injections, Joel.
I don't want to.
All right. I don't even think fish, for the most part, they're not getting injected. Normally, they're just adding it straight to the water for like juiced fish.
Oh, the hormones for...
Well, I don't know specifically. He was talking about breeding hormones or
Well,
Like
the breeding
coloring up.
hormones are normally just added to the water. I think they're nonsense. I don't think it necessarily does anything.
I mean, like clown loaches, they definitely use hormones to get them to breed because they can't do it otherwise.
Yeah.
But that's like in an actual lab environment.
Right. I just... Yeah.
Just don't want to talk
I don't
about
really want to talk about it.
it. All right, fair enough.
I mean, I don't know. It's like flat Earth. It's like flat Earth conversation.
All right.
There's an ice wall that holds in the ocean. You know what I mean?
Oh man. Research says I can use dog and goat dewormer, heat the tanks to 104 for a minimum of 2 hours, use mollies, pond snails, hungry bettas, starve the tank, break down the tank. How would you treat? We're missing. Oh, the one of 2. I got Java Moss and it came with Hydra. It's in my 40-gallon tank with some stuff. Just use some flubendazole. Yeah, that whole 104 for 2 hours and all that kind of stuff. You're gonna nuke your moss. There's a decent chance at 104. I would just use the flubendazole.
What's wrong with the Hydra?
Just doesn't want them. Like
Oh.
they can sting your fish or whatever. But
Sure.
did it say you had a bed in there? But something like sparkling grommies and that kind of stuff will eat Hydra.
I don't know. I think people freak out about planaria, Hydra, all that kind of stuff.
I personally do too. They're like, "Oh God, I got this thing," and then I'm like, "Have you seen it do anything?" And they're like, "Well, no." And I'm like, "Yeah,
I got planaria in my shrimp tank. They're in there.
yeah." I don't consider them to be bad.
Don't bother me none.
Yeah.
I don't bother my shrimp either. I don't know. But yeah, flubendazole is the go-to treatment for sure. I wouldn't worry about temperature, raising your temperature and all that kind of stuff. That's really not going to do anything about it. So I wouldn't do anything other than the flubendazole if you really want to get rid of it. The way that I handle it personally is I don't treat chemically. I will generally just kind of dial back feeding a little bit, kind of up my water changes a little bit, nothing crazy. As you guys know, I kind of do like a 25% water change once a week, sometimes less. Sometimes I accidentally leave the water on for 5 hours.
Sometimes it's 400%.
Yeah, sometimes that happens, but I'll admit it. I admit it. I've made mistakes. But that's all I do is just kind of adapt the feeding and stuff. In response to Phil and the hormone question, I feel like that's like a really long conversation that I don't have like enough of the information freshly in my mind right now. But realistically, like I was saying earlier, it sounded kind of dismissive or whatever, but it was like, it's like talking to some flat earthers in the fact that some people are like, it's the only way to do anything, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, that's where it always ends up. It always ends up just like,
It ends up as a one-sided conversation instead of an actual two-sided conversation.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
You know, it's like, yes, I believe that hormones are real. Yes, they are existent. I don't think that there's a huge advantage to dumping them in. As a matter of fact, some of the stuff that is fairly important, as far as I'm concerned, I know, I don't want to say his real name, JH Aquatics. I popped in for a little bit of his live stream, and he's actually talking about some of the fish farming stuff that does go on that is in the waterways.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people that are throwing hormones around and stuff to get their fish to act a certain way or do a certain way or this or that or the other thing. It's the same kind of situation where, you know, you net an area in a river and they're like, yeah, we just throw food in there and the fish breed and stuff and it's fine. And you're like, yeah, but there's a whole bunch of other things happening, right? And they're like, no, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, yeah, it's not. They're like, no, it's good. I'm like, okay. Same kind of weird conversation with, you know, it's like when we were treating cattle with hormones and stuff like that, we found out down the line, oops, bad idea. Like, but, you know, for the first 20 years, it was fine.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it, in my mind, is that way. So I really steer away from potentially doing things that way. It just seems like a bad idea to me. And I found in my experience, if you get the water parameters right, everything will breed.
Yeah.
And typically, if it's not right, that's when they don't breed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like how many times I've had people that are like, it's impossible to breed autocinkless. It's like, not really. They just haven't figured out the exact steps yet. Like the Shotodenti puffers that are right back here, the Scootin' Fruities.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just haven't figured out the exact steps yet. But you could just dump a bunch of hormones in there and then hopefully they'll breed. And then you go like, that's why. And you're like, I don't know. Maybe? Yeah.
Maybe so.
I don't know. And I just rambled on about nonsense.
How do you think you say that? Bay Barton?
Bo.
Bo Barton.
Mm-hmm.
Hello from Australia. Love the show. Yes! That's 2 from Australia. Any tips for breeding
If
threadfin
anybody knows
rainbows?
why I'm excited, I'm trying to get all of Australia to be a fan.
Oh,
It's my thing. We get one at a time.
seems doable. Yeah.
I'm trying. I got 2 people now, I think.
He's got a 550 liter aquarium. I think that's 110 gallon roughly. No, 125 roughly.
Liter of cola?
Yeah.
You got liter of cola?
4 males,
From
4
the guy
female.
that wanted to see the Super Troopers.
No, I didn't say I
Liter
wanted
of
to
cola.
see it.
Oh.
I've never even seen the first one.
You haven't even seen the first one?
No.
Well, Jimmy, can I get liter of cola?
I think he's seen it.
You think he's seen it?
Katie watched it in my presence once, but I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch it?
I was on my laptop working the whole time.
No.
So, I mean, I absorbed maybe some of it through osmosis, but anyway, any idea on aquarium, or any ideas? Aquarium has moderate amount of tannins and good, and tannin and good and planet. I would just go with spawning mops. Treat them like a pseudomogil. To
Whatever.
breed threadfin rainbows.
Oh, I was reading the chat over here, sorry. You keep talking. I'm reading it.
All right. I would just, I guess I was pretty much done.
4 female, 4 male. Any ideas? Aquarium has moderate amount of tannin and good planet. Breeding threadfin rainbows.
Spawning mops. Treat them like pseudomogil rainbows.
Yeah, spawning mops. Maybe some extra leaf litter areas would be helpful. Generally.
Maybe. But I would want them to spawn in the mop. Maybe feed live baby brine every day. I mean,
Live brines. Maybe Daphnia.
Feeding
Do they have
good
Daphnia
food.
in Australia? What do they have in Australia?
I would think so.
I'd imagine that's kind of worldwide, right?
I would, yeah.
I saw all of them Daphnias
but
out
they're
there.
weird about
Wanna
it.
get
So,
some.
like, well, not like they, I'm just saying, like, maybe it doesn't exist there and it wouldn't be easy to bring it in.
my pocket.
You can take some home. I'm drinking it right now.
Jimmy.
Protein.
I'm gonna scoop up some Daphnias in my pocket.
This is like my bubble tea.
typing, bro? Oh, I'm just checking in. It's my new thing where I just yell over at Jimmy. I'm trying it out. Is it good?
Seems good.
All right. Jimmy hates it. He doesn't have a mic. Where's your mic, bro?
Johnny B wants to do a planted discus tank, wondering if putting tile on top of most of the substrate would give me the ease of cleaning a bare bottom. No.
Absolutely not.
That would give you the worst parts of all of it. I would say
That'd be a disaster.
do potted plants, like do terracotta pots and just put the plants in those pots, and then you still will have bare bottom. Because like if you're trying to grow plants out of there and you're going to put tiles where the plants aren't, you may as well just put the substrate where the plants are in a container and use the actual bare bottom, and then you can move them around. That's what I would do. I've done that in the past where I had like a big
I don't
trough.
get it. I don't get it. What's
What?
the plan here?
What do you mean?
On a planted discus tank, but he want a bare bottom.
He just wants the ease of cleaning a bare bottom.
Why?
I don't know why. That's what he wants.
All right.
But if
I'm
you're
saying
gonna
like
do
it seems
that-
like you know something that I don't know.
In the China videos, they put the return at the bottom.
at
Where?
the bottom of the tank
Who?
in China.
Yeah, but they have an above sump.
Not on all of them, but the bare bottom tank is easier to get crud off the bottom, but it also shows more crud.
Oh, I figured like isn't the advantage of having a planted aquarium so you don't have to clean the substrate?
Yep.
The plants are cleaning the substrate.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying like this seems like there's something here I'm missing. Where I'm like, you put the plants in the substrate so you don't have to clean the substrate because the plants will clean the substrate. Part of ecosystem. Planted discus tank. Instead of doing giant dump water changes once a day, you just do 20% 5 times a day
I
Like
just
on
go
an
by the
automated
parameters
system.
that are given to me.
on an automated system.
Sure.
Yeah, but you're not being helpful.
Oh, I'm being plenty helpful.
I'm not being helpful. I'm sorry.
We're missing the
I don't
super
know.
chats.
I'm missing the whole. I'm missing the whole thing. So I think, like, my response to this would be, the Planet Aquarium is going to clean the substrate for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you substrate properly and you plant it properly,
Yep.
you have the right plants in there. The plants are going to clean up that excess because of the roots and everything growing down there. I would not put tiles in there. That's a bad idea.
Not well. Tile over the substrate's a bad idea.
I can say tile in an aquarium. I'm going to figure out how to phrase this so people can understand the words that are coming out of my mouth. You could put tiles into an aquarium. They are aquarium safe.
Mm-hmm.
But them just sitting flat down on a surface is not a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd want to silicone them in because they collect gunk, and there's
A lot of gunk under there.
yeah, they typically get siliconed in underneath. That being said, what you're wanting to do could be done, but if your goal is to give it easy cleaning like a bare bottom tank, that's doing the opposite. Like you would just want to either have a bare bottom tank or have a planted
Yes.
substrate. The in between is pot them, and then you get kind of
all
both.
those flue ball lights over there.
They're just boxes.
Oh, they're just the boxes?
Yeah, they were
Oh.
for the 800 gallon.
You've just had the boxes over there for a grip? I was like, when are those going to get installed? And I was
No,
like,
they've been
I've
installed.
been
They just
seeing
need
those
to go to
boxes for like
recycling.
weeks now.
Yeah,
What are they doing?
it's a problem. I live in an Amazon world, so we have so much recycling.
Oh no, they're very attractive boxes. I didn't think that I never picked one
I'll
up.
sell you one.
How much?
$10.
What are we talking here? $10?
I've seen you make a
American?
I've seen you make a whole video with one of those boxes.
I've made whole videos.
Yeah, so those are a commodity.
Yeah, we'll give you
A sandwich.
yes.
All right, let's move on to I can never say this. Abshoulace?
Shoe lace.
Yeah, I keep reading it going, it's like reading a license plate that's one of the
No, it's
custom ones.
Abs Hoel Ace.
I knew it. See?
Yeah.
I was doing that in my mind like, wait,
Is
is
that
this
right?
something to be better?
Wrong.
No?
My 55 outdoor tank is leaking along the bottom rim. Do I need to take off the rim and reseal, or is there a quicker way to fix? If I don't care about the appearance or longevity of the fix. Trying to think, if it's leaking out the bottom,
Remove the panel.
if it's
Clean
truly
away.
leaking out the bottom.
Okay. Here's how to fix a leaky tank.
Mm-hmm.
Cut away all of the silicone.
Mm-hmm.
Pull the panels off.
This is like madman talk for
Clean
me.
it.
Yep.
Rebuild the tank. Re-silicone it back together. That is the way to do it.
I think in a pinch.
No.
No, I know I'm right on this. If you know that you don't care about the look, you can get like
Here you go. This is why.
yeah,
See that?
I see that.
Improperly installed.
I understand. But if you don't care about the look, you can get the two-part like marine land epoxy. And just-
Improperly installed, improperly repaired.
To be fair, given the parameters listed, if I don't care about appearance or longevity of the fix,
But you care about the failure of the fix.
I mean, it does say it doesn't care about the longevity of it. I'm
Well,
just
then why
saying,
fix it if you don't care about how long it's going to stay fixed for?
I don't know that answer. But
That's the deeper question.
you could use
the
that
deeper question
epoxy.
is that if you don't care about the longevity of the fix, why even fix it?
That I don't know. But you could use that epoxy, or you could spend $55 and just buy a brand new one.
I would just go buy a brand new one.
And if it's not even leaking that fast, since it's outdoors,
You could get some of that Flexi
Maybe
Seal
it's
stuff.
just-
Have you seen that Flexi Seal tape?
I've seen it, I haven't used it.
Go
You
for
can
that.
build a boat out of it.
That's what I would do. Flexi Seal tape. That guy with the beard, he was riding around in the boat and he didn't
I know.
die.
It might work.
They didn't seem to care about the longevity of the repair.
It's true. I believe in that commercial. That is true.
Although I saw a guy ride a motorcycle across the ocean. Well, not the ocean, but the Italian Channel. He went and he
On
hydroplaned
Flexi Seal.
all the way across. No, just on a regular motorcycle. He's just going fast.
All right.
Because you hydroplane. Because of the speed. It's going so fast.
I think if it's outside and it's
World
not
record.
draining too fast, you probably just leave it as a leaker, or just buy a new tank.
Flexi Seal tape.
That might work, but can it seal when water's coming out of it? I mean,
On the commercial,
fair enough.
there's water shooting out of the pipe, and they put it on there.
It's true. I can't deny the commercial.
I've seen it with my own eyes on TV.
Good thing Jimmy doesn't have a mic. He's
What
blowing
was
up
that?
over there.
Was
Yeah.
that a sneeze? Was that a sneeze? What was
Denise Bender. We need Jimmy's help. Denise
you were
Bender.
holding it in? Oh, okay. I was like, I do
We
that
need
too.
the
'cause I was a
cycling
chef for too
question.
long, bro.
Cycling question from Denise Bender.
People always ask me, what? What are we doing?
I need Jimmy to get the question from Denise Bender.
It's right there.
Yes, where it says, please see question about cycling the aquarium.
Look, man, that's the question. Please see question.
Mm-hmm.
Please.
So I'm going to move on to the next one. Jimmy, you find in the chat where that is. Jenny Cakes 14.
Dude, Kobe's so mad right now. Why is Kobe so mad right now?
Just trying to get through it. Any experience with neon tetra disease? Can it be transferred from pandacories housed with sick neons to healthy neons? I don't believe I've ever ran into neon tetra disease. And people always say, you're a liar. Denise doesn't. I did see you search for it. I don't know why it doesn't exist. Maybe ask her, Denise, if you could repeat that down low, we'll find it. But neon tetra disease. So first, on Facebook, any sick tetra, they're just calling it neon tetra disease. People will be like, this thing got chomped in half by a Oscar, and people will be like, yep, neon tetra disease, I told you. So I think there's a lot of misidentification going on.
Are you talking about what happens on the Facebooks?
Yeah.
Good luck, bro.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
But I'm not sure that I've actually encountered. Have you encountered like what would be considered neon tetra disease, like an incurable bacterial infection that only attacks neon tetras? I don't know that I've actually encountered it.
I don't know that I've ever seen only the Tetras sick.
Right. In which case, if something else gets sick, by definition, it's
But
not
I
neon tetra
also
disease.
don't know if I was ever actually like looking for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, oh, there's a bacterial problem in here. Time to treat the tank.
Well, in theory, the internet would say neon tetra disease is incurable.
Is it?
I don't think I've ever had it, so I don't know.
I'm asking you a question. Is it?
I don't know.
All right. Well, you don't know.
Yeah. But I think the problem is what happens is, like, let's say this disease happens. Like, let's say I get neon tetras, and 1 out of 100 times it has neon tetra disease. Let's just say that's the ratio.
1 out of 100.
Let's say, yeah, for argument's sake. Now, I might kill them. Like, let's say they start dying and cause an ammonia spike, and that kills them. All have never identified that it was neon tetra disease. But on a grander scale, like let's say you have tens of thousands of people buying neon tetras and then posting on Facebook, every time they have tetras die and they weren't able to cure it, like maybe they're like, yeah, well, I put a little bit of Malafix in there and they still died, or I put a little bit of this medicine and they still died. In their mind, that became incurable and is now neon tetra disease.
Oh yeah, it's just like the.
So just be like.
It's just I'm seeing a parallel here to like bacterial colony arguments.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
people are like, lava rock is so much better at being
Yeah.
bacterial colonization, and I'm like, okay, well, have you taken samples and put them on a petri dish in a lab to actually see which the bacterial growth is, and then check them, under a microscope to make sure, and cross-reference the two, and they're like, no. I'm like, okay.
To me, it's
Cool.
the same as like me trying to run like a 5-minute mile and then I can't do it, and every time I try it, and then we just call it like, yeah, it's fat man disease, and then other people of my weight try to run a 5-minute mile and then they can't do it, and then we go, yeah, it's impossible to run a 5-minute mile. It's like, no, let's be honest. And that's the thing here is it's like I'm not saying that neon tetra.
It's like saying that like fat man disease would be incurable at that point,
Right.
right? You're like, well, see.
And I think it's a misdiagnosis. It's not that necessarily I would be incapable of ever running a 5-minute mile, but in my current lifestyle, that would be impossible. And I feel like the neon tetra disease is kind of the same thing of like, sure, maybe that is the incurable disease. Maybe. But 98% of the time or more, it's actually just a bacterial infection, or it's actually just slime coat damage because they got pneumonia burned through the wholesaler and all that kind of
Or like
stuff.
a parasite, and you didn't
And the
know what
average
it was.
person
Yeah.
doesn't know how to cure it. And when you fail, that's the thing is once you fail, then everyone just goes, yeah, it must have been neon tetra disease. Nothing you could have done.
Right.
And so to answer the question is, can it be transferred from a pandacory by pandacories housed with sick neons to healthy neons? In theory, if it was truly neon tetra disease, it would not be able to be transferred to a pandacory and then to another neon tetra. That being said, I would wager what you have going on is maybe a broad spectrum bacterial infection that could be passed along. That is more likely what could be going on.
Right.
So,
I don't know. Somebody in the chat said, I think Corey has had enough of your shenanigans.
who?
Of my shenanigans.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I don't know. Everybody keeps saying this is a disaster train wreck.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
Did we find?
Jimmy!
Did we find Denise? No.
We didn't even find it. We didn't find the super chat from Denise. What happened?
I watched him look for it.
I know.
and we
We're looking
searched.
for it. Does
Well,
anybody have it?
Denise, if you're still listening, type it in the chat again, and we'll answer it. Because when we search, all it comes up is your super chat, which maybe it's off the screen, like maybe you
Maybe it's
asked an
it
hour
was asked
ago.
So far ago.
But-
yeah,
You know, we want to answer your cycling questions, so
definitely want to answer your second. That's something I like to talk about.
I
The
had a-
hormones I don't know enough about. I don't know enough specifically,
yeah.
to be like,
I'd be talking in generalities.
yeah, I don't like that. We could find somebody that's into that though.
I can go deep on white
Who?
crane fish food though.
Who's deep in the hormones?
I don't think you'd have to find like a researcher using it, not for tropical fish, because I don't think anyone that was doing it in tropical fish would want to talk about it because they would be like blackballed by the community and hobbyists. Like, that
Right.
horrible person, look what they're doing.
Yeah, we need a researcher.
Like, even still, like, I don't think we could get the guy that invented glowfish. He probably wouldn't want to come on a show because he'd be like, there'd just be a bunch of people hating on me. Like, that ain't a good time.
mad.
Yeah. So until we can,
Yeah, we'll get Swift to come on here and we'll just blame it on him.
all right. Yeah, he's gonna be close enough.
Yeah.
So
I'll be like, it was his fault.
why are African cichlids becoming less popular? Rusty Wessel and I had a conversation about that when we were at his house, and my take, and he's got a slightly different take, but my take was the way we do African cichlids in the hobby currently is parasitic on the hobby.
Right.
So the typical customer, and this is well known, is they want a saltwater tank, and then we go, yeah, you're brand new to the hobby, you shouldn't have a saltwater tank, but how about this African cichlid tank that has all these bright colored fish? And then people go, okay. And you can even put pieces of coral in there just like you would your saltwater tank, and you kind of basically sell them on a fake dream. But what they're not really ready for is all the aggression and the overstocking and all that stuff that comes with African cichlids.
Yeah, the mayhem.
And so a lot of stores around the country, I think this is part of the problem. You walk into the average store and they have 2 or 3 African cichlid tanks at best.
Right.
They're not commonly is it like, oh, you're doing tons of different Africans. You're really going to educate me how to do it. They basically come to like, oh, these are African cichlid tanks, and any African cichlids can go together. So you've got your frontosa, your bumblebee, your jewel cichlid, all these things that typically should never have gone into the same African tank, all
Right.
go into one, and it's kind of a tornado of death in there. There's always someone getting beat on, and there's all these myriad of problems. And so when that's your first interaction with African cichlids, it's very easy to go, not doing African cichlids anymore. And so I think that's what's been the devolving of the hobby, and the take that Rusty Wessel has is that the reason stores only have 2 or 3 tanks of African cichlids per capita. I mean, obviously there's stores where like they have tons, right? But if you were to like log all the stores and average them out, it's probably like one, like my store, no African cichlids, right? But his thing is, what he sees, because he's a guy that breeds and has a big fish room and all that, is that there's so many breeders of African cichlids now. Like, who isn't kind of a quote-unquote backyard breeder of African cichlids? And they want to sell them, and they sell them to hobbyists, and they want to sell them to stores. But he thinks the intrinsic problem is, right now, if you want a wild-caught African cichlid or just something not super common, you typically are buying it online from either, a wholesaler or another breeder or something like that. Then you breed it, and now you're selling it to, let's say, your local fish club and Craigslist and Facebook. And then you wander into your store and you're like, hey, how about you buy these 60 fish? And they've tried that in the past, and they're not moving because they're already for sale on Facebook and the local club, and they're saturated. And so then naturally, a store goes, well, why am I going to carry a nice variety of African cichlids and help you set it up correctly if there's no money to make for me and the fish? And so we went from, let's say in the 80s, there's tons of good Africans to choose from, and they were all the latest rage, to now they're still really cool, but not in the stores.
Yeah.
And so there definitely is a problem, and that was in Rusty's video. That was the one thing. He's like, you can come film, but I want you to talk, and I want this to be in there and that type of thing about how there's a problem with African cichlids, and they're not nearly as strong as people want you to think. Like, obviously, the agenda of quote-unquote backyard breeders. Don't get me wrong, I was a backyard breeder. I loved African cichlids. I'm just saying, like, a guy with a room filled with African cichlids, it's in their best interest to tell you how cool African cichlids are, how much money you can make with them, how popular they are. It's not to their best advantage to be like, yeah, this hobby's totally dying, man. You should get in while the getting's good.
Right.
And so, and the problem is, so like we have this conversation and all that. No one really knows how to fix it though. Like, how do you go back? How do you get rid of hormoned fish? How do you get rid of all the strains that are not kind of wild anymore? How do you make a better economy so that fish are coming in from the wild? How do you do better education? You got to do you got to attack it from 40 different fronts. It's almost like a grassroots movement of like, let's rebuild that part of the hobby. Meanwhile, you already have you almost need it to like completely die and crash,
right? So
that you can rebuild it from the ground up correctly. Because if you're trying to it's really hard. Like, I worked in an African cichlid store when you're going like, yeah, this German strained red-shouldered peacock, no hormones. It took forever to grow up. Yes, it looks amazing and all that stuff. And yep, that show male's $42. And they're going, yeah, but I can buy one at Petco that's all juiced up out of its mind. It's this big and it's $7.99.
Yeah.
To the average customer that's brand new to the hobby, it's all the same to them. So it's a really hard sell. The people who have been in for a long time, yeah, they're against hybrids. They understand it. They get all those things, but it's not enough for the new person coming. And that's the thing, is the new people coming into the hobby are always kind of the important people to focus on, because they dictate what happens. If we have the next 10,000 African cichlid hobbyists do really well, they are who teaches the next set of hobbyists. And so if you have 10,000 people do well, they might get 9,000 more African cichlid people into it. And that's kind of like what George Farmer's doing. He's doing all of his stuff to promote aquascaping because it's not that big of a thing in the UK. He knows if I teach people, they'll teach people, and then eventually it'll just be a bigger thing. And that goes for any part of the industry.
Right.
So, yeah, good question though.
I think my biggest issue with African tanks is that or African cichlid tanks. No, very rarely do I ever see anybody do a species-only tank.
Right.
Which are the ones that I really, really, really enjoy. It's really kind of off-putting to me when there's like 10 different kinds of fish all just kind of clamoring around in one tank, and I'm like, I don't know. There's like a rainbow of craziness, rainbow of madness going on in there.
And I think that's part of the problem. Like, it used to be, rewind 10, 12 years ago, in my opinion, the common wisdom when you wanted to set up an African cichlid tank, you'd go to like cichlidforum.com, and they would have the articles of like, it's called the African cichlid cookie cutter setups. And you'd be like, oh, here's a 55. You click on that, and then there'd be like 8 different combos that you would choose of known working cichlids. And you might be like, oh, this got a good color combo, this level of aggression. And now the average African cichlid tank that I run into, and we're talking averages, not extremes, is that someone just, I got 10 different African cichlids from a PetSmart. They were all assorted. They were $6 each, and they're getting enjoyment out of it. So you can't fault them. But at the same time, it is a Thunderdome of unknown of like, oh, that one just killed that one. Like, yeah, that happens. And it can happen with any of them, but you can definitely skew odds. So, all right. I think we're on to Barbara Jackson. What causes the sick fish spinning thing? The barrel roll. I don't know if I have a specific cause.
Barrel roll?
Yeah.
Often that's swim bladder.
Could be.
From time to time. Feed some peas.
I've seen it. I've seen it like in wild caught fish, to the best of my research, that it can be like a parasite that gets into their brain and it warps motor function.
It's generally bad news if I get a barrel roll fish.
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever been able
time.
to pull it out of one. Like when you get one that's kind of swoop, whoop, 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 and it like hits the side and the bottom. And that being said, though, I've never like dissected the fish afterwards.
I normally
like,
pull them
let me
out
cut
and
the brain
see if
open.
I can like basically just treat them with kind of the gambit and see if they do okay. But
I will usually try, because in my mind, I'm always thinking like, okay, if it's at this level with this fish, it probably is spread, so I treat the whole tank. But if I'm being honest, most of the spinning fish like that, they end up becoming turtle food.
Right.
Where it's like, yeah, you can go live in this turtle tank.
It's not long.
And you may be eaten.
It's not long.
I have had some where I'm like, okay, you have way outlived what I expected. But in general,
I've had some, like, very rarely have they turned it around.
I try to give them that benefit of the doubt of like, look, this turtle aquarium you could live here. But if you keep derping around like that, that turtle might eat you.
If you keep derping around super hard.
Which to me, that's like nature. Like if you were this derpy in nature, someone's going to come around and eat you.
Right.
But if you can get your wits about you and be like, hey, I should hide in this cave, you deserve to live.
I do have the chickens, so.
Yeah. For sure. So, Daryl Dimer, always offering the support with the $20 super chat. Thank you, buddy. How do you bring out the best color of Tetras? Specifically, diamond Tetras or Congo Tetras? I believe frozen and live foods mixed with like Tetra color granules. They do color enhance. As much as I feel like they're an old school food, like it doesn't necessarily have to be Tetra color granules. That one's just, you could buy that at like Fred Meyer's and Walmart and that kind of stuff. So it's easy to get a hold of. But I think good natural like live or frozen foods and mix that with something that's got, what is it, anthraxin in it? Is that the right red enhancer and that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I didn't think
that's in the
yeah.
Tetracolor bits. And
there,
like
yeah.
blues and stuff like that, there's a different, what is it? In koi food, one of the best color enhancers is marigold extract.
Mm-hmm.
So basically something to color enhance a little bit. And then, like, if I was you, Daryl, something super easy would be right now, I'd get like a few 5-gallon buckets and just put them like on my back porch. Yeah. And put red food coloring in there. Not really. But just let some mosquitoes go and then start netting them every day. Those mosquito, for fish that size, a diamond Tetra and the Congos, they will go to town on them. Bananas. And it'll be good.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good move. Live food is always good. That will definitely bring them up. I've noticed over the years with Tetras, as long as I got the temperature correct,
mm-hmm.
and I got a decent amount of tannins in there, and my light schedule is making sense, they progressively color a lot.
The other time I think I've had really good looking Tetras is when they were in green water.
Like
I couldn't see them.
Like the rummy nose I got now.
Yeah.
Got just enough tannins in there.
I think the water flow is helping in there.
Water flow helps, and I'm only feeding once a day, so it's helping to keep them.
Because when I saw them at your house,
active.
They look good in that water flow. I was like, man, they really do school well when they got to swim against that water.
And it's keeping them active, too.
Yeah.
It's keeping them in an active position, so I think that helps to color them up, too.
But I think that green water helps, but you can't see your fish, so...
Yeah, so green water's always a problem.
You could also try vacationing them. Vacation them outside for the summer. When you bring them back in and they've been eating bugs and that green water, they'll look amazing. If, raccoons don't eat them. Like you know, you always got a chance of losing your fish outside, but
Raccoons.
they look real good when they come back in.
Untrustworthy. Those raccoons.
Alex N with the iPhone 999 Super Chat. He's headed off to college next year. Well, it's been nice knowing you. He gets a max tank size of 10 gallons.
No, he's going off to college next year.
Yeah,
He's got a tank. He's going to be traveling back and forth.
10 gallon. Travel back with him 8 hours. And back every year. It's like summertime, I guess. All right. What's a good setup for college? Any advice for traveling with it? So I assume you'll have to pick different dorms each year. Like you couldn't just like drain it and let it set. Because you got to
bring
move
it back.
out. I think first thing, right? Got to go acrylic. If you're going to be moving that thing every year, it's just going to be, the problem is you're going to go, glass tank, 10 gallons, like $10 at the sale. 10 gallon acrylic, $200. What? You know, or $150. Like that seems unreasonable.
You better take it with you.
But the one time you don't crack that thing while you're trying to move out or move back in, you'll be like,
Again,
yeah,
back
that
and
was
forth.
worth the money because now I don't have a problem with all these fish that they're in a bucket, they don't have a tank to go into.
That's a good point, yeah.
I would say start with acrylic. It's going to be more off the get-go. And then, and this is just me not officially saying it, but who really knows the size of a 10-gallon? Maybe it's 12 gallons in acrylic, you know, like maybe because you can get a little bit different size. Like I think mostly they're going
Right, it might
like,
be
yeah,
like-
you need something like this size, not necessarily like, hold on, let me measure the volume
The
of this
gallons,
thing.
yeah.
They basically are like, just don't let it look giant type of thing. So you might be able to go with like a 12 gallon, and maybe it's got like a built-in sump or like, you know, that little back panel. But I would definitely go with acrylic for moving ease. And then you could even set it up right now. Like you could just have it rocking and rolling. And then I would pick fish that aren't hard to catch. Like maybe Danio is going to be harder to catch than Tetras maybe. And like guppies would be really easy in comparison. So if
Yeah.
you already know you're going to be catching them all the time. The other thing you might think about is maybe you do, like, maybe you go there, you rock that thing for like a year, or, you know, 3 semesters, but then you give all the plants and fish to like that fish store, and then take it home, take the summer off, and then set up a completely new thing the next year. Like that would seem
I
fun,
didn't think about that.
you know, because you're kind of going to feel that way, like, you know, and you're not exactly going to be, like, I would guess when you come home, you're in like, cool, I'm in home mode, not like I really want to set up an aquarium and really take care of it for three months.
Right.
You could just be like, yeah, let it sit dry. And then, you know, so maybe the first year it's like planted library tank. Second year it's saltwater. Third year it's 1 goldfish.
Yeah.
And maybe you could choose the tank based on the load. Like maybe you're like, oh man, year 3, I really loaded myself up with courses. So 1 goldfish is what I'm going to enjoy, or 1 betta type of deal. Something ultra low key to take care of. Trying to think of like another
doing a
one.
volume calculation here, so
All right.
everybody thinks I'm texting somebody.
I'm trying to think of a 4th year. Like let's say I knocked all those 4 out. Then maybe a shrimp tank. I feel like a shrimp tank is a different of enough tank. And by then, I mean, you'll have a boyfriend or girlfriend, and they'll have some kind of, you know, some kind of insight. They'll be like, oh, get me one of those. But maybe you could do a native tank for you. I don't know where you're going, but maybe you could do a native. You know, like there's a collecting trip that we're not going on for the library convention. It starts early in the morning, but they're collecting in Michigan. You could do that. But yeah, that's how I would approach it going, if I got 4 years, I want to do 4 different tanks and experience some stuff all in 10 gallons. And that's what I would do. And if it was 4 planted tanks, I would do different stone, different plants. Because the filtration and all that kind of stuff is mostly reusable so long as you don't do salt water. You'd have to get a protein skimmer, that kind of stuff. So, are you finding out the best possible dimensions for a 12-gallon?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out here. But I think if you go with an acrylic tank, I think the best dimension for that would be like a 16 by 16 by 16 cube.
That already sounds rad.
Yeah, that might be the best.
If that comes out to like 12-ish gallons, I think you're on the money. That sounds way
That's
better
like
than a normal tank.
18 gallons. So it's a little bit more.
But maybe you do like a 14 by 14 by 14
Maybe you do a
cube.
14 by 14.
Even a 1 foot cube.
Because a 12 by 12 by 12 is
Is it 8 gallons?
8 gallons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
I think you could get away with like a 14 or a 15 inch, and it's all looks. So like the Mr. Aqua 12 long to normal people looks way more than 12 gallons. So like if you had this super long, they'd be like, that ain't 10 gallons. But if you got this thing that looks like, also no, I think this anyway. I never think 1 gallon of milk looks like that's just a gallon. There's no way that looks bigger than a gallon.
right.
You know, so it's
Intentional.
all how it looks.
That's why the dimples and everything are in it.
Yeah.
So it looks bigger.
Yeah, so that, you know, you definitely there's a visual aspect to your, what do they call that person that's like in charge of your row at college?
The RA.
The RA, yeah, because it's just got to pass the RA test. That guy or girl's got to look at it and not go, that looks like it's 800 gallons.
Yeah.
They got to go, oh yeah, that looks like a small fish tank.
A small thing. Yeah.
If it passes the small fish tank test,
It's
you're
that
good.
small fish tank thing.
Yeah. So that's my advice. Do something different each
Yeah,
year.
18 by 18 by 18 is 25 gallons.
Mm-hmm.
24 by 24 by 24 is 60 gallons.
That's
though.
true.
What up?
Word. Vexing Cat. What is that holy piece of acrylic in Joel's hands? What is that?
Do-do-do-do-do. It's a holy piece of acrylic.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Issa the Pope. The Pope?
Is it?
Brought to you by the Pope?
Is it?
Maybe.
Yeah.
No. This is literally a holy piece of acrylic. Yeah.
It was just done so well that he bought it. It was in a scrap bin.
We're making a thing. Be quiet.
Yeah.
Be quiet, Vexing Cat. We're making a thing.
It was in a scrap bin.
No
and
one
it
even
looked
asked
useful.
about me breaking the sump back there.
They know you just break stuff, so I think they were just like, yeah, that's what he
Karate
does.
break. Didn't even ask about
We
that.
were gonna take him out anyway, so
Yeah, we were going to.
yeah. We don't need those baffles. We just need the.
And that's just a perfect example back there of improperly installed. They're installed with silicone, holding it in with acrylic. And, it's acrylic sheets held together with silicone, which is mind-bendingly terrible. It is awful. Don't ever do that with bulkheads either. I see that constantly. People get like a leaky bulkhead and they stick silicone in there. And then
Sometimes
it leaks 2 weeks
fixes
later
it
again.
for a while.
Yeah.
It's just a Band-Aid fix. It's the same thing like earlier with that 55-gallon tank. Like,
Might as well get the Flexi tape.
you're right.
It's
And
literally
I have
Band-Aid.
fixed stuff with Flexi Seal spray where I was like, I don't want to cut this back out, and I got it to stop, but it was still, a bunch. Let's see here. Epic. Why do I every time I say Epic Adams, every time.
Epic Adams.
Every time. It's like a
Epic
month in a
Adams,
row at this point.
Epic Adams. Epic Holy.
You got to get changed to Epic, man.
Holy acrylic. What?
All right. He's got an idea for $9.99.
$9.99.
Feature moderators fish tanks, either pics or short videos. It would be interesting to see the tanks from all the folks that made the show possible. But either way, thank you for what you do. Well, first, thank you for the super chat. Second, in practice, the viewer home show style does not do well, in my experience. I've tried to do it often,
On numerous occasions.
and it just doesn't do well. Typically, people just want to see what we're doing, or they want me. What people have suggested
They want
is
to see
like,
us do fish room tours.
or they want to see us talk about someone's tank. And a lot of times, I don't want to talk about someone's tank because you can't possibly say anything negative without hurting feelings and that kind of stuff. And I don't want to hurt people's feelings on top of that.
And you'd be all like, I got hurt feelings.
Because even if I did Joel's tank, let's say I go film his tank, and then I'm talking about it, I'd be like, man, don't be looking at that. Like, I know it's a problem right there. I'm on it, like that type of thing. And so, and then the other part of
I
it
don't
is they got to want to do the work. There's that, too, where it's like, oh, I need you to film a thing. I need you to do all this.
And there's a lot of people that just don't want their stuff filmed.
Yeah. I mean, and, like, let's say you're like, oh man, but you have Michael's Fish Room and you have Nisi and you have Flynn's Fish Forum, I would be like, yeah, they all have their tanks on their channels, so
Right.
you can go watch them. But then the other people that don't have that, it's like, well, maybe there's a reason. Like if they're in YouTube culture enough to be a moderator, they're probably making a informed decision to not show their tanks. The other person,
or they're making like some kind of contribution to YouTube, or maybe Facebook, or maybe Instagram, or maybe Snapchat, or maybe Vimeo, or maybe they Twitch stream. I don't know.
Because like Steve has a channel. Maybe Candy Overhaul is the only one that doesn't have a YouTube channel. But like Joel from New Zealand, he's got some of his tanks up on his channel. Trying to think of other thing.
It's Gillett, the best man.
People submit
can
photos.
get.
We provide constructive criticism. I don't want to be any part of that.
Yeah, it's the big problem. It's the same. Okay. It's the exact same path that we would go down again with people like, I don't understand why you don't have every YouTuber on the Real Fish Talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, what?
There'd be one, infinite demand.
Yeah, and then there's just all sorts of people that are just like, well,
And then
now I'm not, I want to be a moderator so I could be on, and you're like.
And there's infinite chance to alienate people.
And then those guys are mad because they're not moderators now, even though they asked to be a new moderator.
Well, yeah, even if we just open it up to everyone,
Yeah.
The problem is there's one upside of like that would be cool, and then there's like 150 things that would hurt us as
There's just
people.
there's just too many.
So it's one of those things. There's too many negatives to the positives.
There's too many downside.
Yep. It's another thing if you're like, come film, I'll film in person, we'll do that.
Yeah.
But when someone asks like, can you critique my thing? And then we critique the wrong thing and they get angry about it and we lose them as a customer and that kind of thing. And
Well,
there's
it's like-
lots of people that say, critique my stuff. And then they're like, you don't have to be so harsh about it. It's like, oh, well, I wasn't being harsh or whatever. Or they didn't realize something else was a problem. So
Right.
it's kind of it's a minefield and you don't know where the mines are. You're like, how about you just keep walking back and forth? It's like, you're going to hit some minefields of like,
Right.
yeah, I know it looked messed up, but I saved this thing from this place and I'm doing all these good things. Like, cool, you asked for the advice. Like, I was not trying to attack here.
Right.
So,
Well, it's also one of those things that like it just ends up hurting a bunch of people's feelings that like that weren't. Or there was like unintentional. You know what I mean? It's like a bunch of
even
people
in the
get
home
upset.
shows,
A bunch of people get upset. Yeah, like even with the home shows.
if I showed
People like-
too many good scapes, people would stop submitting. Well, my stuff's not even good. I'm not even going to bother to show it. So they were being offended by other people having stuff that looked better.
Yeah, they were being offended by other people
And
doing
it's,
well.
for me, I'm just at a scale like today, luckily, hit 140,000 subscribers. At that scale,
Thanks, man. Rub it in. This is nonsense.
yeah.
Why don't I have 100 billion subscribers? Taylor Swift didn't have me on her live stream. I don't understand.
Did she have someone else?
Taylor Swift didn't have me on her live stream.
I know. But I was reading something that, like,
I don't know.
she was all over YouTube, so I was wondering
I'm
if there was like
just
a thing
making
you
a
knew. I
joke
knew.
about Taylor
Oh.
Swift. I don't know. I don't. Did she have a live stream? I don't.
There was something about that, like on Twitch or something like that.
I was literally.
It was
just
something I
making a
read
joke.
yesterday, so I was
I was
like,
literally
oh,
just making a joke, but that's the thing. A bunch of people get offended.
I'm so offended right now.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
I'm offended that you're offended.
With
I'm
140,000
offended
people,
that you're offended that I'm offended because Jimmy doesn't have a mic.
like right now, out
Somebody's
of 100
mad.
people, if I take a drink of this water, 3 of them think, you're going to get cancer because that's in plastic, right? Like, there's literally not a thing I could do on screen that will not alienate someone. And so I try and avoid...
Don't drink that.
I try and avoid the things I know are willingly going to trigger a larger portion of people.
Speaking of a thing, interjecting. It's word of the day time.
Let's do this.
We got 10 minutes till the end of the show. It's
I
time for the
haven't-
word of the
I
day.
haven't seen it, so
Prepare
I can-
yourselves. Prepare your minds.
I can participate.
Prepare your minds for the word of the day.
We need music for this.
I just did.
We
the
need
music
Jeopardy
part.
music.
I just did the music part.
I
I was like, I made fart noises with my mouth. All right. It is a noun. today.
prefer word hole.
It's a noun. Word hole.
I got to get close in for this
All right,
one.
you guys ready?
Whoa,
It's a noun.
It's on the lean.
4 syllables.
Whoa. Should we tell him how many letters it is too? Have you ever done that?
No, 4 syllables.
All right.
Figure it out. I could just tell you the word of
Wu
the day.
Tang Klansman.
What? I'm offended.
Wu Tang Steak's only 3, Jimmy.
Killer bees! Right? Okay, word of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Noun, 4 syllables. Government by those seeking personal gain at the expense of the governed. We have a government by those seeking personal gain at the expense of the governed.
I'm trying to think what that is.
Is a noun. 4 syllable noun.
Wait, is it 3 or 4?
Yeah, it's 4.
All right.
You Googled it?
Yeah, but I didn't put it.
You're a cheater, McCheaterson.
Yeah, but I'm Asian and I don't belong in this country.
Ooh, does Neighborhood have it?
It's close.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Dictatorship is 4 too.
It's
Oligarchy.
They're pretty close though.
I'm trying.
They are close.
The 4 syllable thing made it way harder. Now we're let me.
Yeah. Fish, 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 fish. That's pretty good.
There it is.
There it is. Oh, it's spelled wrong. Ed spelled it wrong, but he got it right. Ed's fish wins the word of the day.
Another view.
Yeah.
What was it? Kleptocracy?
If you don't like word of the day, I shall continue to force it on you. It's going to happen. But Ed's fish, congratulations. You got it right. I don't know what you win. Probably nothing. I don't know.
How do you say it? Kleptocracy?
Yeah, kleptocracy.
Huh.
Here we go. So few shed tears for the demise of Mobutu, except those who benefited from the kleptocracy. He's believed to have siphoned off $5 billion into foreign accounts and assets. From the Huffington Post, October 3rd, 2016.
Was that one of the
Finally,
African leaders?
a word that has been used within the last 5 years.
Was that one of the African, leaders?
Yes, Mobutu? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's a perfect word for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. But did you know?
Yes.
One can say that the heyday of the combining form klepto from the Greek kleptin to steal was between 1819 and 1861. Kleptocracy became the first of this prefix to root itself in the English language in 1819 as a term for a corrupt government that seeks to enrich those in power at the expense of the citizens. Kleptomania followed in 1830 for impulse to steal without economic motive. 31 years later, the designation kleptomaniac was first applied to such stealers. Really? Stealers? It literally says stealers
Instead of
here.
thieves?
Instead of thieves or criminals or whatever.
Huh.
Wow. There's
But
also
maybe
the word...
maybe the real definition of a thief is something that we don't expect.
Is it like hanged?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying maybe
Well, no, I
there's
mean, is
like
it
a...
like hanged.
I don't know what the...
If you're hung by if you're
Yeah.
hung by the neck until you're dead, that's hanged. Hanged is the actual right way. Hanged until you're dead. And you're like, wait a minute. Are you just throwing ED on...
But I'm wondering, so when you said kleptomania, I didn't realize that it was only that if there...
Kleptomaniac.
Right, but the one before it, kleptomania, it was only with the intent for not monetary gain.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that.
economic
And maybe
motive.
thieves has some kind of weird thing like that too, a
thieving
thief.
is motivated by
Yeah,
like a
maybe.
need, right?
Yeah,
Like
maybe
I'm
it's something like
hungry.
that. Maybe that's why they use stealers instead of thieves.
Yeah, maybe that's a good
So
point.
I'm saying maybe we don't know the
That could be good.
intricacies of thieves, and we're the dummies.
Okay. There's
Yeah.
also the word cleft, which means which entered the language in 1820. It is influenced by Greek kleftes, meaning robber.
Kleftes,
and refers to a Greek person belonging to any of several independent guerrilla communities formed after the Turkish conquest of Greece.
I want to start a group called the Clefties. That just sounds awesome.
The Clefties?
Yeah.
Clefties.
Clefties Car Club.
I think I'm going to start a band called Along These Lines.
Along
Or
these
along
lines.
those lines. Yeah.
Whose line is it anyway? We got some super chats though.
Uh-oh.
James Caswell, any size tank, any stocking, what would be the dream? What do I think is the dream? Here would be my dream. A tank so big that I can have predators and like live bears in the same tank and watch the ecosystem happen. So maybe that's like, let's say it's 5,000 gallons. I don't know what it needs to be like, look at that. Those swordtails are cool. And then I've got this Dovi here, and he only eats those, but he can't murder them all. And it looks awesome, and it's my dream tank. And there's a turtle in there. Like, it would be something like we saw, where did I see it? My brain, Chicago? Yeah. In Chicago, you know how they had like the turtle and they had all that stuff, and it was all cohabitating in those displays?
No.
I don't think you went
But I
with
get
us.
what
That's
you're
why.
saying.
I don't think you went with us.
No, you guys went to the aquarium. I
Yeah.
was doing something else.
Okay. But at that aquarium, that type of display was something where I'm like, I really like how there's actual predator turtles and all this stuff, and it's all cohabitating correctly. I love that.
My dream tank, man, I wish I could find this. I've been trying to find it. There's an old thread, an old forum thread, I think maybe from the Planet Tank or whatever, but I can't find it now. I used to be able to find it super easily. I think maybe it got pulled down. But there was a guy that completely built his house in Arizona around the ecosystem of like...
Arizona?
No.
Oh.
Of like Central Southern America.
Huh.
And it had a giant, not giant, but big pond in the middle of it that was actually like a tank. So it had this big exposed side, but it also like ran into a stream. And then there was also areas that were planted throughout the whole entire living room. Light all came in through specific
Like water plants or like...
water plants and
Okay.
above
Okay. Yeah.
all of it. His whole entire giant living room was in its own like little ecosystem. So it had a stream from the big pond. He was pulling Valsneria out of it at one point in time that was 9 feet long. So the main holding part of the tank was like probably 10 foot high, but it had this big, straight, thick acrylic piece in the front, so you could actually just walk up and like look in the tank and stuff. So it was big, probably 3,000-4,000 gallons or something like that. But all the lighting came from the natural sun, but it was controlled by the panels in the ceiling. So the ceiling was actually clear, like a glass ceiling throughout the whole place. And then it would move basically like, so if you've seen those, have you seen the bathroom doors that you flip a switch? It goes from clear glass.
Yeah.
And you flip it, and
Yeah.
then it's like, boop, and it turns into another thing. It was that stuff. But it would
Wow.
transition so that the light wouldn't be too overabundant for all the stuff in there and like grow
That's
too much
insane.
algae and stuff. It was so awesome. Like that is kind of my dream setup, is that like the whole living room. I mean, and maybe it doesn't have to be the living room specifically,
Sure.
but just like a big living ecosystem like that. Maybe no birds, maybe no spiders.
Couple of caiman.
Probably no reptiles, really. Probably like turtles.
Maybe
would
like
probably-
one day gecko.
There'd probably be like a turtle, maybe some geckos. Those would be great. Yeah, I don't need any of the bitey.
No bitey kind.
None of the like I don't need caiman or gators or anything like that. That's just goofy. I don't want any alligator gars or anything giant like that. I don't want. I certainly don't want arowana. I don't know.
We got one super chat to get to.
I'm just gonna keep talking.
All right.
Trail off. What's the super chat? Michael Tete? Tete?
How do you feel about Trex material for a deck? What new plants are you excited to stock coming out from wholesalers? I'll answer the second part. Nothing. Nothing is exciting coming from the wholesalers. The only product to come out that was exciting in the last 2 years, in my opinion, is Crypt Pink Flamingo, and they are gouging everyone with it. Like, to get one Pink Flamingo from my wholesaler, I have to order 19 other pots that aren't pink flamingo as a tissue culture. And on top of that, pink flamingo is twice the cost of every other culture. So that's the exciting plant. And they're not just farming the crap out of that one. They're like, no, you need to buy all this other stuff that no one really wants to be buying in that quantity.
I should probably get some pink flamingo. I got an offer for some the other day, and I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
It's just a cool, it's not like mind-bendingly cool. It's just cool and would totally sell well if it just like came in, we could sell it. But the fact that I got to pay twice as much and then buy 19 of something that doesn't really sell to sell one. And that's why it's not everywhere to get. It's because everyone's going, yeah, it's not economically viable for us to do that as wholesalers or as retailers or whatever. But Trex deck material for a deck,
yes,
I can only weigh in partially in that I need to have a deck repaired, and I did a little bit of mathing. And what it seemed like was Trex deck.
Let me answer this. Get out of here.
All right.
That weakness out of here. If you can afford it, yes, it's worth doing if you properly install it. 9 times out of 10, it's improperly installed, it's improperly screwed, and it's has an improper base underneath it.
That's the problem I
I'm going to say base because it's just the easiest way to explain it. Basically, what you're making the decking out of, or the Trex is the decking, so all of the joists and everything that go underneath it, the base for it is almost never correctly done.
We would have had to redo the entire thing because our spacing was all out of whack. And at that point, it's an entire rebuild, not just redoing the decking.
But also take into consideration the cost versus how long you are going to be somewhere. Okay? Mm-hmm. Because oftentimes decking can be, I don't know, a quarter of the price that the Trex is, which means that you have a bigger budget for, say, staining or properly installing and properly maintaining if you're only going to be there for like 5 or 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it's probably going to be just as nice as, you know, I mean, not just as nice, but basically as nice, okay, when you installed it. If you're looking for something that actually lasts 50 years, put the Trex in and get it done.
Yeah, I was trying to avoid the restaining and all that because I'm ultra lazy, but the money kept me from doing it. So.
It's brutal. It's brutally expensive when you start adding up the
I do love the one and done, like, we'll have it forever.
You won't have it forever.
Well, but clearly longer than something else. But I couldn't even.
But also remember that there is a personality trait too that goes into a lot of things. Oftentimes Trex is not paintable, so you can't change the color. So if you have, for instance, a wife who might be interested in having it be a different color, that's not going to be great. You know, and if you think about the style, like, 10 years down the road, your wife doesn't want these benches, or your husband or whoever, I don't know. I say wife because, that's my jammy. That's my Victoria. She might go like, we need to get these benches out of here. And then it's like, we got to find the exact Trex to fill these gaps now. So bear that in mind, that stuff will happen quite a bit.
Yeah. James Caswell saying, as a nurse, you're both right as to what leukemia is. I think someone was debating with you in the chat that you were unaware of.
Oh.
There was a one-sided debate or something going on, but good to know.
Blood cancer.
Yes.
That's why they call it leukemia, but I don't think it really explains exactly what's going on. And you know what? I'm not a doctor, so argue with me all you like, and go to school and get your doctorate and go treat cancer if that's what you want to do. Cool.
Do it. My Pet Aquarium, last super chat. I paid $70 for a pair of cockatoides. Is it pretty common that a pistogramma cockatoides kills a female? This is my second time this happens. Yeah, I would say fairly common that can happen. If you get a chance, picking up like a group of 6 juveniles and letting them grow out and pair off naturally, a natural pair that's formed always, well, I won't say always, but pretty much always does better than, hey, you're a boy, you're a girl. Yeah, live together, make babies.
Make it happen.
Yeah, that's always a harder situation. But the other thing I would say is a lot of times we as fish keepers keep doing the same thing. You're like, okay, I got a tank. They did okay after 6 months, killed the female. So I'm going to buy another pair, and then 6 months later it kills it again. It's like, well, but you didn't change it. Like maybe your environment was like, oh, they were always fighting over the pen, and the pen's still there, and for whatever reason that keeps triggering the same behavior.
Right.
you might need to do like a total new aquascape, or instead of you had it in a 20-gallon, try a 55 or try a 29. Like really mix it up, because sometimes it's just the way we do it. Like, oh, you didn't know I was making him fight over one bloodworm every day, like it was a death match or something. Like there's a lot of outside factors that we don't take into. You could have like a TV on, casting shadows. There's all kinds of stuff, but fairly common. Yes, I would say it's much more common for those cockatoids to do that than saying like, oh, my male platy keeps killing my female. It's way more common than that would ever happen.
I gotta go, bro.
Oh, you gotta go?
Yeah.
We gotta build?
I gotta go.
All right. Potty time?
I like what you're talking about, but my Apistocockatoides, I raised them up together.
Yeah.
And there are 2 females left and 1 male, and they seem to be doing well.
How many did you start with?
5.
Yeah.
Of not knowing what they were.
Right. I think that's, if you get that chance, and you don't always get that chance, but if you can,
This is
secure
before you could
juveniles.
really sex them. It was kind of like,
Right.
hey, there's 5. Let's see what happens.
5 or 6 of a mixed bag, I'll take any time, because they're going to adapt your water parameters better. There's so many good things about it compared to like, sometimes you buy grandpa too. You're like, oh, he's old. Like, oh, he's done breeding. He's just about killing.
He's just cranky.
Yeah. So that can happen too. So, all right. Well, that's the show today. Mostly we wanted to get the sump built, which, well, not built, but installed. So we're going to hammer down on that directly after this. I'm going to drink some water, eat something because I'm starving and a little bit hangry at this point.
Hangry.
Kingly, what?
It's so hot in here today.
I can't hear you. What?
Thank Fish Key Largo before we go.
It's super hot in
Oh,
here
yeah,
today.
yeah. The Fish Key Largo for donating the money to Caleb Overhauls. I heard that we were about $400 away from hitting that $1,000 goal, where he'll donate another $50.
Whoa.
So if you're watching this post liveness, you can still donate. The links are still in the chat, which is a good thing. And we can still get our way there. It's kind of a long story for this family and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And, it's financial trouble has been going on for quite a while. Still continue to go on. She does a lot for the hobby.
Still going.
And, we'll just keep trying to fund it over time. That's
Yep.
all we can really do. So
We got goals, bro.
we got goals. We might even meet them one day.
Holy acrylic.
Holy
Lead
guacamole.
us to a new land.
Yes. Well, thanks for hanging out. Got to open the door. It's too hot in here.
It's too hot in here. Bro,
Yep. The egos have been flaring.
it's getting hot in here. And Jimmy's naked.
Jimmy has been.
weird.
I didn't know we did strip live streams, but he's doing it.
We have got to open the door
Every
and cool it
time-
off in here so
every
he puts his
time-
pants back on. I mean, he's got his underwears on. So.
Every time you talk to him off camera, he took off a piece of clothing. It was like a game.
Jimmy!
Yep, there it went. That was his
Yeah.
last sock, and it wasn't on his foot. It's bad. So,
Good times, bro. Happy Tuesday. Let's go get some tacos.
taco on. Let's do it.